This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better host, or if you're looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month absolutely free. And now, enjoy the show.
This is Jackson Riker with WWE, a member of the Forgotten Sons, and you are listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this happens to be your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode number 216. What in the world are we doing here on a Friday night WrestleMania season? My name is Nick Howell.
And eat your grits and grab your mitts. I am Sir Ian Dangerous. It's WrestleMania weekend. We're here on a Friday night. I'm having an old-fashioned.
Ian's having an old-fashioned, and we are here because the Busted Wide Open podcast is just too big for one night.
We couldn't do it all tomorrow, Nick. We could not fit everything in tomorrow before WrestleMania,
yes.
So we had to do it tonight. We are coming to you early. If you're one of our regular watchers on YouTube, we normally go live at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern on the YouTubes, the tubes of you. Today, different. We're going on Friday night because I don't have to work, Nick.
Because we can? What?
Because we can. So here we are. So much to talk about today, Nick. We have to go over NXT, AEW. They both had shows this week. Smackdown. Friday Night Smackdown. The last WWE programming before this year's WrestleMania 36. Too big for one night. 2 days worth of WrestleMania this year. 17 matches at last count. Good Lord.
By God.
By God. It's gonna be a hell of a show today, Nick. We've got to make our pick'ems. We got to make our WrestleMania pick'ems in the show today, and we have to take it seriously because we're going head to head with the Going in Raw podcast with
Lars and Steven.
Steve and Larson. Get it right.
No, them. Yep.
Yes, we're going head to head with them, and we've got to make sure that we take it seriously because this is for the honor of our podcast, and also because whoever loses, whichever podcast loses between us and theirs, we got to wear the other podcast logo on our neck, with a big temporary tattoo like Cody. So it's for real today, man. And not only that, there's a lot more going on this weekend, Nick. But I tell you what, I'm going to let you talk about that. Let's do some housekeeping. Tell everybody how they can interact with the show. And while we're at it, tell them about the Patron Pick'ems Challenge. Go for it, Nick.
Yes, guys. Well, the first thing you want to do is head over to Facebook, search for Busted Wide Open, like our page, and send us a join request to get into the discussion group with all of our fans and listeners and the phenomenal ones. Fun memes, links to our Discord server, all kinds of good, reliable news stories happen in that group, and it's just a fun, positive environment, not like a lot of other groups and pages you see over on Facebook. So we think you guys love it. We're real proud of it, and all of our fans and listeners love being in there. So thank you guys for all being a part of that community. Make sure, pinned to all of our social media profiles and in the links in the description if you're watching here on YouTube, get into the Discord because we got 2 nights of WrestleMania where we're going to be hosting live chats for both of 2 nights of WrestleMania now because it's just too big for one night.
It's madness.
Let's do a ticker of how many times we say that in the next 2 hours.
I don't know if my ticker can handle it. That's all.
Come over and also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. Subscribe to us here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. As we are getting closer to 1,000 subscribers, it unlocks all of that fun functionality. Make sure you also jingle that little bell so that you'll get notified anytime we do go live. on the off chance that we do a show on late Friday night instead of Saturday. I'm just saying. And last but certainly not least, speaking of those phenomenal ones, you guys have really showed up in the last couple of months. Thank you so much for all of that. If you'd like to support the show, the best way to do so is via our Patreon page that you can find over at patreon.com/BWO. All kinds of exclusive rewards and things that you can get access to over there, such as a copy of the show notes for every single episode, the ability to ask listener questions for our patron mailbag, which we will still be doing tomorrow afternoon at the normal time of 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on YouTube as well. So in addition to that, 4 times a year during the big 4 pay-per-views of WWE, we host the Busted Wide Open Patron Pick'ems Challenge, which is a confidence bet kind of point system where we challenge, where all of our patrons go head-to-head with Sir Ian Dangerous and myself in direct competition to be crowned the BWO Patrons Pick'ems champion. Our current reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Kris White will be putting his title on the line for the first time over 2 nights. Now, this is the biggest challenge that any of our champions have seen so far. It's the biggest challenge that we as hosts have seen so far because there's 17 matches.
And it's going to be, after that first night, can you imagine how things are going to be? I wonder if anyone's going to be mathematically eliminated after the first night. Or if it's just going to be all of us sitting there chewing our nails like, oh, God. How can I still win this tomorrow? We're going to have a whole lot of time to think about it. Oh, it's madness, Nick.
We have a lot going on this weekend, guys. That's why we're doing the show tonight. Thank you all for showing up. Those of you in the chat, thank you for hanging with us, keeping it lively as always. We're going to have a lot of fun for the next couple of hours, so stick around. We're going to get through this. We're still going to do our patron mailbag for all of our phenomenal ones tomorrow, so be ready for that. But yeah, Discord, Facebook group, it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit, as the youngins say these days, right? For the next couple of days as we get through WrestleMania. And then the impending Raw that we know that they have already pre-taped as well for the Raw after WrestleMania. But we're not going to start there. We're going to kick things off before we get there with some big news.
Well, speaking of the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, that might be the last new programming from WWE that you see in a while. Barring some slick footwork on their part, apparently, because in case you didn't know, 2 days ago on April 1st, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis finally realized that something's actually going on and said that there's going to be a 30-day stay-at-home order for all of Florida, except for essential businesses. Basically, what everyone else has done already.
Right.
That's actually going to mean that UFC 249 is not going to happen, at least not in Florida, and that any future taping for WWE and AEW cannot happen. Now, AEW has already figured that out. I'll talk about that in a second, but WWE is in a bit of a pickle because their performance center, where they've been filming WrestleMania and also their weekly shows, Raw and SmackDown, and also NXT, the Full Sail, that's all going to be shut down. That's all going to be considered non-essential. So they're SOL, and they can't go to Connecticut and film up there because they've already been on lockdown. So where is WWE going to go? So it's going to be a very the question is, are they going to shut down entirely? And are Monday Night Raw and SmackDown going to be basically are they just going to become recap shows? Are they going to just replay old episodes or old matches?
Does it become Fight Club where it's some hidden underground thing in a basement?
Right. Do they go hide out somewhere?
Coming to you from an undisclosed location underneath a wine shop.
Yeah. How are they going to figure this one out? Are people just going to wrestle each other from their houses? Who knows? Maybe they'll figure out some sort of people are going to be doing promos, kind of like what NXT did for a minute there. AEW kind of had a little bit of it. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what WWE does. The rumor is right now they're going to shut down for at least a couple of weeks and reassess, which I think might be the best thing for them. It's actually kind of advantageous because WrestleMania is kind of their season finale, if you will, and the Monday Night Raw afterwards is the denouement. It's the let's hint at what's going to happen next, denouement, and that's where they kind of go. All right, that was WrestleMania, everybody. stay tuned for next season when all this might happen, right? That's their lead out. So they could conceivably stop things there. And given the fact that we don't know when all of this is going, when everything's going to start back up again, it might be the best thing for them to kind of just put everything on ice, just accept that they're not going to have very good ratings for the next couple of months, because nobody is. Like, it's across the board. Everyone's suffering right now. Just take it on the chin.
Yep.
And wait and put out a better product in a couple of months. That's personally what I think they should probably do, and what they should have done already, just, for safety, public safety hazard, et cetera. But hey, if it has to push them this far to do it, and they get through WrestleMania, understood, fine. They got through it. It's done. The question is AEW. They apparently have shot enough in Georgia this last week or two. They shot enough footage that they can actually continue to air matches that they shot these last couple of weeks for the next 2 months. They are estimating about 2 months. I read that on PW Torch, and Meltzer also reposted it. They shot a ton of what they call quote unquote essential matches, story moving matches. So they've got enough stuff to keep rolling.
Good for them.
A while now. So that's some good foresight on their part. So we'll see what all they got. I mean, obviously, they're advertising this week. They had a big title match coming up in 2 weeks. They filmed that this last week. It was supposed to happen this week, but they think they're going to start spacing stuff out a little bit more. So very curious to see how both the big companies handle the next few weeks after WrestleMania. Yeah. So, Nick, that is the big news. We have a lot to get to. I'd love to dwell on it, but
we'll have one more piece of breaking news, and that's that Esme dropped $17 into the tip jar. $1 for every match on the WrestleMania card as it stands. Thank you very much, Esme, for kicking it off tonight. But that's not all we're going to kick off, because we got to head over and talk about All Elite Wrestling.
Well, the TNT Championship is about to happen, and it's going to start up next week, I believe, is when they actually start doing the matches. They announced A block last week, which was Cody, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin.
Sean Spears and Darby
Sean
Allin.
Spears. Sean Spears and Darby Allin, Cody, and Sammy Guevara.
No, Sean Spears and Cody, Darby Allin.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I said. Yes. This week they revealed Block B, which is going to be Lance Archer versus Colt Cabana and Dustin Rhodes versus Kip Sabian. Interesting. So we
I want to see both those matches.
Yeah, we didn't see. I thought Archer, they'd keep Archer out of this, but you were sure he was going to be in it. You were right. And then neither of us saw
Cabana
Dustin
too last week, and you
snarkily
said no.
Yeah, well, there he is. But I said Kip Sabian. There he is. Neither of us saw Dustin Rhodes, so this makes a lot of sense. So this could actually be, I think, a pretty good tournament all around. Do you think this will end up being Lance Archer's way of getting at Cody, given how everything's laid out right now?
No, not the way the brackets are laid out right now.
Really?
I actually think this is going to end up being Darby. Somehow we're going to end up with, I think Darby Allin, Lance Archer is a good possibility of what we're going to get here. And somehow the problem with that is which of those two win. They both kind of need a win. They need a champion, but could it be Darby Allin going over Lance Archer in his somewhat debut here? That would be a little bit weird. But at the end of the day, I see this as Darby Allin's to lose, in my opinion. I think Darby Allin is going to get this title. Just like we got $13 for Mr. Andy Jessup in the tip jar.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you,
you
sir.
Guys, thank you so much. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm bracketologying this out, I don't see Cody or Sean Spears getting to the final, and I don't see Sammy Guevara. I see Darby Allin on the left side. On the right, to me, Lance Archer or very possibly Dustin Rhodes. But I just don't. It's got to be Lance Archer for me coming out of that B block.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. That being said, it seems to me like it might be the time to have him go against someone like a Darby Allin and have him murder them and continue his roll towards Cody. Especially considering that this week we had a match where Cody and Darby teamed up to face Spears and Guevara. A little bit of round one tease. But this had a lot more going on to it than just being a building momentum to the TNT Championship tournament. It was actually a very, very fun match. Lots of little moments that they threw in here. Lots of character moments, lots of creativity, lots of things they put in there to keep it exciting, given the fact that the only crowd they had for this entire show was a few other wrestlers. On the left side of your screen, you had all the faces behind the barricade. On the right side, you had all the heels. Everyone's 6 feet apart, keeping their social distance unless they had to beat somebody down, like when Cody got thrown over the railing at halfway through the match, and everyone started beating him down, including Britt Baker, who took off her shoe, started beating him with it, even turned to the camera and showed it happily.
Who throws a shoe?
Who beats someone up with a shoe? Apparently, dentists. They're the ones. So there you go.
And Zach Gibson.
And well, no, we all shoes off for Zach Gibson.
Shoes off for Zach Gibson.
Very different thing.
Yeah, I know.
So this all led to, at the end, a bit of a miscommunication. There's a lot to talk about this match that's a lot of fun, and I wish we could sit here and talk about these matches at length, but Nick, we don't have enough time today. I want to talk about the competition between Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears, seeing who could suplex or stall suplex Darby Allin for longer, and they were betting like who could. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Darby Allin's coffin drop from the top of a pole. We don't have time. We got to get straight through this, and let's talk about the end. Darby Allin gets distracted, rolled up by Spears because he was trying to save Cody because Spears brought in a chair, and he's so mad afterwards, socks Cody in the face. Interesting. Hits one of the biggest faces in the company in the face. Is this Darby showing a heelish side, tweenerish side, showing that there is maybe a little bit of discord between them? If Darby and Cody go forward in the tournament, now they have some beef. What was this to you?
This was... So there's a thing that... there's something about the coffin drop that I think they need to keep special. Him climbing up the pole and doing it off the pole like that, really for no reason, just because he can and because he's willing to, is just something fantastic. Those are the kind of moments I want to see the coffin drop, right? Just because he's Darby Allin, he's willing to do that crazy shit, a la Shane McMahon, a la Jeff Hardy. Like, he's kind of in that same vein, right?
Yeah, I'll give the Jeff Hardy one especially.
Yeah, definitely Jeff Hardy. I'm thinking Shane coming off of the Tron stanchions.
I'm thinking angry Hot Topic Jeff Hardy. But anyway, not Hardy's not.
So I want them to keep
the
if the coffin drop is going to be a thing where he's going to do stuff like that, I want it to be special. Don't do it every single week. I loved this match. I loved this main event. I thought it was fantastic. Lots of storytelling here. What I didn't see coming was what happened at the very end. And we saw Shawn Spears go to get a chair. Darby Allin yanks it away from him. He wanted to hit Cody with it. Darby yanks it away from him. And in that moment, Shawn Spears sneakily rolls up Darby for the 1, 2, 3. And then Cody is kind of aghast, is beside himself, and tries to console Darby. Darby turns around and clocks him. Did not see that coming.
No.
I'm not mad at it, though. Just like I'm not mad at whoever Anonymous has started something, put $70 in the tip jar.
Are you kidding me?
Followed by Abraham Castillo, who put $18 in the tip jar to correct Esme, because it's not 17 matches, it's 18 if you include him versus the Nation. Followed by Lyle Frayling, who put yet another $10 in the tip jar. You guys rock.
Thank you so much, guys.
Shivers.
Cheers and thank you. Oh my God.
Thank you. Oh.
Good.
So yeah,
Lord.
a lot of this episode of AEW was good. This was great. This was great. Yeah.
Also great. There's a few other things that were great. Lance Archer debuting, and they said he was going to face Marco Stunt. And right off the bat, I kind of went, really? Of all the people to debut him against, someone who is just very obviously going to get squashed.
Yeah.
You know, it would be more interesting to have him go against somebody who's a little closer to his size, a little bit more like, let's think about, I think last year when I saw a lot of people get their eyes opened by Lance Archer and his match against Will Ospreay.
Guilty.
Someone who is quite a bit bigger. You know, he's 6 foot. He's a healthy 200 pounds. Like he's a reasonable sized lad, but he still looked like he was going to get murdered by Lance Archer. But he put up a good fight, believably so. Marco Stunt cannot put up a believable fight against Lance Archer. And the little bit of offense he got in this, luckily, was very quickly overcome, because otherwise it risked getting very unrealistic. But what this was a very entertaining squash match because it became kind of like, how bad is Marco going to get killed here? And it got pretty bad.
But wasn't it beautiful in its tragedy though? I mean, to me
Right.
it was like it was a David and Goliath thing. You had that release suplex where he halfway through he let him go, and he just like went across the entire state of Florida before Marco ever came down, and it was like just watching it in slow motion. Oh my God, this was a lot of fun. This was more fun than I expected it to be when I heard it was going to be Marco's stunt. We knew we were going to have a match with Lance Archer, his debut match, and we didn't know who the opponent was until it was time. And at first I went, and then I went, no, wait, this could actually be a lot of fun. And it was. This was absolutely a lot of fun.
I was pleasantly surprised by it. It brought me around on it big time. I'm gonna have an interesting time today because my notes keep crashing over here. So forgive me if I stumble a couple of times here. But yes, this was overall a very, very fun squash, and it made Lance Archer look like a really mean guy, which is what you want. And I like, right. And they didn't catch it. Hopefully they catch it next time. But apparently he laid out the medic when he came in. It was one of his shticks in Japan was killing everyone who was associated with New Japan at ringside, whether it was young lions or whether it was staff. It was his thing. I hope they keep that because that's one of my favorite things about his entrance is him just coming in, yelling about how everyone's going to die, and then killing people ringside before he even gets into the ring. It's great stuff. Next week, he faces Colt Cabana in the TNT Championship match. Boom Boom was on commentary this week. He was a lot of fun, actually.
Yes.
And he turned out to be him. Who was better, do you think, him or Cody on commentary
easily.
with Schiavone this week?
Him.
I thought so, too. He was fantastic.
He's only been running a podcast for like 10 years. So, I mean, you put a mic in front of the guy, he's pretty good at talking.
So we're not biased is what you're saying.
No, not at all. No. Me, biased, loving Colt Cabana? No. I never fanboyed out and took a picture with him at Podcast Move It in 2018. That wasn't me. In the middle of his trial after the CM Punk. That wasn't me. I love Colt Cabana. Thank you for all the fun, Colt, over the years.
Well,
I think he was fantastic on commentary. He's lively. He's got that energy. You can feel the passion. Cody's a little bit more of a talker, and he's trying to play inside baseball with you, and he's doing these kinds of things. Colt is just out there doing color commentary stuff, and it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. Much like I do Sami Zayn over in WWE when he's on. So
yeah, they're very smooth, very good stuff. And I think he's actually going to be a great follow-up for Lance Archer. This week we got the very obvious win. Next time it's going to be just the faciest of faces, nice guy. You want to love him. I think him being on commentary this week was to get over what a nice guy he is and what a kind of, hi, I'm a nice guy. I'm a wrestler next door. Don't
forget the interview he was doing ringside a week or two ago when Kip Sabian, it was on Dark. Kip Sabian came over and he just smacked him in the face like, hey, I'm a wrestler too, remember?
Right.
he just smacked him.
Well, we're going to see it next week. He's basically going to be like a blown-up QT Marshall, where he's a guy who we know has a little bit more like QT's great, but I think people give a little bit more respect to Colt Cabana, and I think that's going to mean more when he gets murdered by Lance Archer next week. So good booking all around there.
Yep.
Also good booking in the Kenny Omega versus Trent match, a match I didn't know I wanted until I saw them work for nearly 20 minutes.
Yes.
And there was a 20-minute time limit, and it went to 1902.
Damn.
Part of the fun of this match was the fact they got real close to the time limit, but they didn't get so close that the time limit was really a factor. But what it did do is mean that the last couple minutes of the match started raising up in intensity. Oh my God, are they going to go to a draw? What's going to happen here? But Nick, this was much more of a slobber knocker. Would that be a good way to put it? Like, it was a hard hitting match.
Yeah, two kind of strikers going at each other here. I expected more, dare I say, wrestling moves, and it turned out to be more of a strike fest,
And it wasn't a whole lot of like fancy flippy stuff either. It was just,
there was some of that.
I love, but not like what you could kind of expect.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a lot more grounded than what I was expecting for sure. And it ended up being a really good, like, this would be a match I'd want to show people if they said, is there good wrestling on AEW? Yeah, go look at this match. In fact, I was actually, at the end of this, I called this the shut the F up Cornette match, where he's always bitching about how, the flippy stuff and the fake, what he calls, quote, quote, fake, business exposing wrestling stuff. I want to go look at this match. And I know he hates Omega, but tell me that Omega doesn't look like a guy who's out there having to fight for his life against a guy who's stepped up his game. He's still better than Trent. Like the story that was told was that Omega is better than Trent, but Trent is just, he's going to go out there and show his grit. The popular word of the day.
In WWE, right? At least, yeah.
Right. Well, let's just make it all over.
Yeah.
But it did feel to me like an actual competition. You even had like a nice handshake at the end. Both guys seemed tired. Trent was selling. There were some moves I think they could have sold more, but again, a nitpick. Overall, I thought this was a hell of a solid match. And one of the best things you could expect given the circumstances of not having a crowd other than the wrestlers who did their best to make some noise during this.
Yeah.
So
no, I had a blast. I again, like you said at the very beginning of it, I didn't know I wanted to see Trent Beretta go up against Kenny Omega. There was one moment where Kenny kind of got dropped on his head. It was a little scary. I think it was in some kind of suplex or something like that. But then, I mean, Kenny just picked him right up, V-triggered knee, one-winged angel, and dead. You know,
that was it.
So, yeah, this match, fantastic. What a way to kick off the show. It was awesome.
I guess the only thing that I was concerned about, or I'd rather have a question for you about, because I know it's something that's one of your peccadillos, is here we have a guy he's a tag team champion, and he's wrestling mostly singles matches. Do you chalk that up to just the circumstances right now, not being able to have too many people in the arena at one time? But that's been kind of a ongoing trope, is tag teams wrestling as singles. Do you feel that undermines the tag team division, or is it okay because it allows the individual wrestler to stretch their wings?
I think it's the latter. It allows them to stretch their wings. It gives them more versatility. It allows us to focus less on the best friends hugging each other and Trent Beretta, the wrestler, right? It allows us to focus on the fact that, you know, when the best friends have a match, everybody's side eye is on what's Orange Cassidy doing, not what's actually happening in the match. I can't tell you a match that I was so interested in with Chucky T and Trent Beretta in AEW since, because they're always redirecting your attention to Orange Cassidy. I thought that this time, while they were out there and they were at the top of the ramp and they were present, I was wholly invested in Trent Beretta versus Kenny Omega as a wrestling match. And I think that's the fundamental difference here. Make sure that the people that you're putting in the matches are the ones with getting the attention and the color commentary and the descriptions and everything, not just the people that are around ringside that maybe are more over than the person who's actually in the match. I think that was a fun lesson this week, because look at what Trent just did against arguably the best wrestler in the world, at least one of them. And, you know, it was a fantastic match. Nobody saw this one coming. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. You have to forgive me. I'm a little bit distracted. I'm negotiating with Ann Larson on Going in Raw right now about the nature of our of how things should be scored. So I'm doing like five things.
Tell him we're busy. We're trying to do a show over here, Lars.
I'm trying to explain that.
Come on, man.
He's getting in our heads already. Nick, we have to talk about the Jericho skit.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the fact that they were like, hey, what's Jericho doing while this is going on? Apparently, he's sitting in his hot tub on his palatial estate, drinking a little bit of the bubbly, and getting harassed by Vanguard 1. And I don't even know how if I can describe this in a way that does it any sort of justice. But basically, this is up there.
I can.
Then be my guest. Release the hound.
If you've watched The Tiger King, it's as ridiculous as The Tiger King.
I don't know about
Jericho's sitting in a hot tub shirtless, caved in chest and all, with a bottle of champagne. All of a sudden, Vanguard 1 rolls up. He gives the damn thing a tiny baby inner circle t-shirt, hangs it on it, and it flies away, and he starts yelling at it again and coaxing it to come back, and then calls out the hounds. Release the hounds.
The hounds, quote unquote.
This might be the best. Like, if you've never watched wrestling before, imagine this for a second. You've never watched wrestling before, but it's WrestleMania season. It's the week before, and you're like, you know what? I've been gone for 10 or so years. I'm going to pop on to wrestling this week and see, what's this AEW thing all about? Oh, cool. Kenny and Trey. I remember Kenny Omega. Yeah. Jericho pops up. Oh, yeah, I remember Y2J. He was awesome.
Do you remember Jericho? I remember.
And he pops up sitting in a hot tub yelling at a drone, releasing the hounds.
I need to
this
point
might
out
be the
something
best
here.
thing I've ever seen in wrestling. If I'm being
I need to
completely
point
honest.
something out here. Jericho, in 3 minutes and 28 seconds, had a catchphrase or a gag every 10 seconds in this. If you break it down,
Wow.
He had new catchphrases he's trying to get over. He had gags almost the entire time. It was nonstop. Whether it was him not being able to say sorry because he was going, he couldn't say sorry, couldn't say the word. Releasing the hounds, and like there's one big floppy dog, and the rest are like Chihuahuas and Pomeranians,
Right.
and it's the goofiest menagerie of unscary dogs you've ever seen in your life. Him cutting a promo on a drone and giving it a baby inner circle shirt. There's so much funny stuff in this. Calling Cody a pumpkin-headed dipshit again. We're calling him Cody Exotic to talk about Tiger King.
Right.
Yeah, so it was just nonstop, and it's unbelievable the amount of creativity that comes out of this guy when he's unfettered, when he's just allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. And it makes you sit there and go, Jesus Christ, why did so much of his career were people not just like, just let him go? Just let him off the leash, because it's not, he can. Remember in WCW where he kind of was like able to do whatever he wanted, and it was like this where it was just nonstop funny stuff.
Not really. I mostly remember Y2J.
That's right. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
You never saw back in like the
then
Ralph
he'd
this
come out of
era.
the top of the ramp and tear down Stephanie McMahon and tear down The Rock and just go at people constantly. I want to call attention one other thing. Speaking of funny things in the skit, Sildozer. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I did notice. Did you happen to notice that when he was sitting in the hot tub, he poured champagne in the cup, in the glass, and then sat the glass back down and drank from the bottle? Shit like that is just what makes him so money.
He gets out of the hot tub nonchalantly, still in his pants.
Yeah.
It was just nonstop. It was ridiculous. It was unbelievable. Jericho off the leash is just absolute gold, worth every cent that AEW is spending on him. Good, sweet Lord. Speaking of people being off the leash, Brody Lee is off the leash. He is your exalted one. He is the head of the Dark Order. And this week we got another look at what that's going to look like. And it's not the creepy cult leader that maybe you or I or anybody were expecting, Nick. Instead, it's kind of turning into a Vince McMahon satire. Now, they're taking it seriously. When I say a satire, I don't mean that it's funny. I mean that they're satirizing Vince McMahon, in that Brody Lee is now wearing a ill-fitting suit and tie and sitting at the head of a big desk with a TV with static on it behind him and yelling at his cronies if they do so much as yawn, which one did this week, or not say his catchphrase right, throwing a glass at a wall or berating a guy and saying to yawn is showing weakness.
Yeah.
So for one thing, this is pretty far from what we expected from him, and that's fine. What do you think about the Exalted One as Vince McMahon parable? What do you think about that take? Are you disappointed by that, or do you think that at some point you'll buy in on it because they're playing it straight and seriously and not like it's they're not winking with it. They're playing it straight.
No, this is hard poke. This is like you're poking the bear, right? And there's part of me that loves a good rib, right? I just go for it, right? A little poke in the eye, so to speak. Here's my thing. At the risk of sounding repetitive, what I said last Saturday was I'm not sure if this has legs long term. Meaning, if this is something they're just doing for a couple weeks or the first month just to get one over and let Luke get it off of his chest, fair dues. Get past it. However, you had spent 3 to 4 months of the Dark Order building up this psychosomatic cult leader who was this fantastical cult leader, this guy that was supposed to mess with us, right? That was going to brainwash us into all of these things. And basically what you've given me is the love child of Tony Soprano and Vince McMahon. And I'm not sure if I'm upset because that's I'm wrestling, it's not what I wanted, tantrum, or I feel like he could do better. I feel like it could be better. And I don't want him to be this big, heavy Tony Soprano, head of a mafia family kind of figure that's punishing all of the underlings. I want him to be the one that all of the geeks bow down to and, that do his bidding and all of that kind of stuff. Fine. but not because they're afraid of getting beaten up or like verbally abused.
What if it works? What if all of a sudden the Dark Order starts kicking ass?
I will eat that crow as fast as I can.
So it's about results for you with this.
Yeah.
But I guess the more of the point is the part of it is that we see the Vince parallels because we know we watch this a lot.
We get the jokes. We're in on it.
We're getting the jokes.
Yeah.
Is that why it seems so obtrusive to us? Like if it was something where we kind of had this feeling he's kind of doing a Vince thing as opposed to being
cheap.
like, oh, he's doing a Vince thing.
It feels
right.
cheap.
Is that why it feels cheap to us?
Yeah.
Or is it something that maybe if we weren't thinking as hard about it, we'd be able to accept it more? You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit on it because
I know what you mean.
This week I definitely on one hand was feeling like, oh God, not more Vince stuff. Like leave it alone. You're out of the company now. Like do your own thing. But on the other side, I'm like, this is kind of entertaining though. I am being entertained by this, and I'm actually starting to be curious where they're going to go with this, because one way is a dead end. If the Dark Order doesn't get better, like if they don't start winning, if he doesn't actually turn them around,
like him showing up doesn't turn the course for them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Then this is all going to fall apart. But if this does turn things around for them, then it's the same thing we were talking about with Bray Wyatt being a cult leader.
Yep.
It's got to work.
Yep.
Otherwise, you as the figure, as the character, the cult leader, you're undermined, and it doesn't work. So it all falls apart, right? So that's the same thing that's got to happen here, is that whatever their behind the scenes feelings about the Dark, like, you know, if it is a Vince McMahon thing that they're doing, whatever their feelings about Vince has to win here. You know what I mean? This Vince clone character has to become successful with his methods because of what they set up about Dark Order. Yep. And that's the box they've kind of put themselves in with this. So I am very curious to see what they do with that. And frankly, if his methods do work, I'm curious to see how they evolve the character, because it can only stay like this for so long before they have to make it evolve. Otherwise, it becomes one note. It's just a joke, and that's boring.
You know how they, with the Dark Order originally, it was Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, and they didn't really, like, Evil Uno didn't really wrestle that much. He was mostly there to be the mouthpiece. That's what I think the Exalted One should be. I don't want to see Brody Lee, the Exalted One, out here having matches. I want to see him generaling his forces.
But that's another waste. That's another waste. One of the whole things we were saying about getting him out of WWE is let the man work. He's an incredibly talented worker, a talented wrestler. He's the most talented guy they have on Dark Order. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Hear me out.
Okay, I hear it.
My point was, and I think I said it last Saturday as well, until they need him to. He is a fantastic worker. So I want to see the underlings doing the chores.
Right. Yes.
But when it's time to get serious, when it's the name
he's
is
the final
big
boss.
Enough, he's the dragon.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get to. Like
yes.
if you can beat Evil Uno and Stu Grayson and overcome the mobbing of all of the geeks, and you can get to Brody Lee, right, then you can fight him. But I don't want to see him having matches every week. Just one-off
Although you might
singles matches.
Based on what we saw this week, you might see him and Dustin getting into it sometime soon.
Yeah.
So, which would be nice.
Nightmare. Which Nightmare version is it this time with QT Marshall? Nightmare name. I don't even know what it's called.
Natural Nightmares, I think. Right? Was the team? It was QT and Dustin teaming up against the geeks.
Yeah.
The Dark Order, and they won. So, we also saw Hikaru Shida. Hikaru Shida got a match with a debuting Anna Jayy, a new female wrestler from the Nightmare Factory, straight off of the factory floor. Nick, you okay over there? You're looking kind of thirsty. Is it just me? You're sweating a little. Sweating a little bit. A little parched. Yeah, take a sip. Anna Jayy. I'm gonna say this right now. I was very impressed by Anna Jayy. I thought that was a good first look for her. I have a feeling she'll become a fan favorite fairly quickly. And I'll leave it at that. Hikaru Shida came out with a nice video package introducing her. It's the first time we've seen one of these for Hikaru Shida. What did you think about this match? What did you think about the presentation of Shida? What did you think about Anna Jayy, sir?
Fantastic debut. Good to see her. I know she's been working the indies out of Georgia and Atlanta for some time. Several companies have had their eyes on her. I know NXT's had their eyes on her. But listen, I'm excited that she made it over to AEW. They need this kind of younger talent like this in the women's division in AEW. Objectively, I want to say that out first. The big Hikaru Shida, there was no way she was going to win against Shida. Shida's number one contender. Shida is probably going to be the next women's AEW champion.
They're trying their best to build her as a character now.
What they're missing out on, I think, and they missed out on it again this week, they had a small ringside confrontation with Britt Baker, who was ringside, who has been doing some phenomenal heel work on the mic with Tony Schiavone since the cruise, basically.
Hour long, yeah.
And then there was no physicality there. There was no real confrontation. There was no real verbal exchange. It was more of just a, hey, see you, stare down kind of thing. And I was like, all right, is that a teaser for what's to come? Are we going to get Britt Baker Shida to lead into Shida Nyla Rose for the championship? Okay. I like where they're going now, guys. 2 months ago, I was really upset about the women's division in AEW, but now I'm starting to go, this feels more organic. This feels better, like it's starting to click. The introduction of talents like Kris Statlander, Shanna, Anna Jayy, others, right, is starting to build out the diversity of this division, and it doesn't just look like it's a bunch of Joshi wrestlers that Kenny Omega brought over, plus Nyla Rose, right? So now this is starting to get a little bit more of a dynamic going. You're getting side feuds happening. You're getting you've got Big Swole in there with Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida. I still want to see Swole and Britt Baker get it on. I'm getting excited about that division.
Quick insert at this point. Do you think it's familiarity? Do you think it's because you're getting more familiar with the characters, more familiar with the wrestlers that you're more of a fan of it now, or is it that they're actually presenting them better?
No, because I still don't really know what Hikaru Shida is about. Like, what's her gimmick?
But I thought that
is she a Street Fighter
did a great job with the video package here, where they said, like, yeah, she trained in Japan. She's a hard hitter. Look at her kick all this ass. I thought it was a great way to introduce her without having to get too deep into her psychology or anything, you know?
Okay.
So I thought it was a step in the right direction, at least. Nick, I have it here in my notes. You have a prepared statement. Is that still true?
I do, actually.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll step aside and sip a beverage while you do this. Ready?
Yes. My dearest love, Tony Storm. It's been a minute since we last spoke, but I wanted to let you know that unfortunately I'm going to have to move on.
Oh my God! We're hearing a breakup live on air?
I didn't want to text you this, so I'm sending it to you via podcast. I'm sorry for any trouble this may cause you, but in these uncertain times, my heart has been pulled toward another. Love, Nick.
Oh my God, I'm devastated. Oh, this is like when Jack sank in the water at the end of Titanic. What's happening right now, Nick? Oh my God.
Anna?
So quickly.
Hi, Anna.
Wow. Not hard to pull your attention. One match, and Nick gives up years of affection towards Tony Storm.
It's bore no fruit. That's the.
Oh my.
I've invested so much in that relationship, and it's just bore no fruit. So at a certain point, you just have to move on. And I'm doing it with a struggle in my heart.
I'm sure. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little shooketh right now.
I'm sorry to have to do that to you guys here live on the show, but I needed to do that with all of my loved ones here on the
I was not
show.
prepared. I know Tony wasn't prepared. She's somewhere in tears right now.
I was not prepared either.
This is horrible.
I know.
All right. Well, good luck to Anna Jayy. I suppose she's gonna need it. Well, Nick, moving on from that, we found out that in other Nick news, not our Nick, but Nick Jackson, he's on the mend. He was doing a little bit of a workout over in Rancho Cucamonga, which they were outside. It looked just like I remember it. Lots of sand, lots of crappy trees and mountains in the distance. But he's still not ready to get back in the ring. So it looks like they're doing a slow play way to get him back in the ring, which, given everything that's going on, is probably the best idea. Is there's no timetable for Nick's return. Great. Smart. Good stuff.
Yep.
Nick, on our way out of here, on our way out of AEW, can I just throw out a little love to the Gun Club? I know we just got done with you and your sex beat on Anna Jayy, but let's talk about the Gunn Club, not the band, but the father-son duo of Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn, who were ringside nearly the entire time and kept their damn energy up the entire 2 hours, screaming and hooting and hollering the entire time.
Yep.
That is some serious cardio right there to be that invested. And they even caught Marco's stunt when Lance Archer hucked him into the crowd, the crowd,
right?
I say.
Pretty effortlessly as well. That dude must weigh like 47 pounds soaking wet.
And
he
Lance
like
Archer
one-handed
must be able to bench
chucked
press
him,
a truck.
just like sky hooked him like Kareem over the barricade.
Wow.
Oh, the chat is not happy with me right now.
No,
guys,
that was cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
I did it with. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go back to that.
That was ruthless, man.
You know,
you broke her heart on air.
I know. I'm sorry.
Damn. Just the first flashy thing that comes along, and Nick's just like, whoop. All right. Well, next week, it's 2 weeks. Guess who the gooses when you say it like that. 2 weeks, we've got Jon Moxley and Jake Hager in a no holds barred. No holds barred match.
You don't even know.
You don't even know where they're going to be.
You know,
we don't know where they're going to be. Somewhere
another $15 in the tip jar from Anonymous. I don't know who Anonymous is, but thank you, Anonymous. Thank you very much. I'm sure you'll reveal yourself in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Previous Anonymous I did see in the chat was Clint. Thank you very much, Clint.
Thank you, Clint.
You rock.
Thank you so freaking much.
And you rock too, other Anonymous. Thank you for your contribution to the show. But guys...
hold on. Really quickly, because we did have a little promo off between Jake Hager and Jon Mox this week. What did you think of their little promo off? Because I thought it was fantastic. Little pre-filmed bit.
This is how you do video packages.
Pretty much.
This is how you do video package promos. This is how you build hype for a match. This is like, I am over the moon. I never knew that I wanted to see Hager's first big match be against Moxley for the championship. Yep. Do I know if he can win? I don't know. Are they going to flip it off of Moxley this quick? I don't think so.
The tail of the tape, Hager's what, 6'6", 6'7", big, rangy dude. Moxley is not that much smaller. He's 6'4", pretty big and rangy too. Yeah. And actually, having seen Moxley come out in the MMA trunks over in Japan and work a little bit of a mat style over there, I'm real curious to see how they make this go down. Early reports from Jim Ross are, because they've already filmed it, early reports are that it was awesome. So
awesome.
Cannot wait to see that match. Nick, actually, I meant to do this at the top of the show, but I'm just going to bust in right now and do it because we did just get those tips there. My goodness.
Oh, well, before you do that, Andrew England one-upped it with another $12 in the tip jar just now. You guys are killing it, man.
Seriously. Thank you guys so much. And I also wanted to say this again at the top of the show, but I was surprised about a day or so ago by a large deposit in my very limited bank account, thanks to the fact that I'm out of work right now due to this whole thing that's going on. And that was because behind my back, Nick and the patrons had conspired to put the net sum of our income for the last quarter for this show just towards me. Nick and I usually split everything. And after the net, of course, after we pay for everything for the show. And you guys, I guess, conspired to give me the net alone this time, which is way too generous and I think is inappropriate, Nick, because you do, as much work as I do, if not more, on this show. But obviously I couldn't argue him down. It was already done. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys, everyone who threw tips out, and everyone who's a patron. It meant so incredibly much to me, and I'm still having a hard time putting into words how deeply I felt that and how much that meant to me. So because I'll put it this way, I went out and bought groceries that day. So it meant a lot. It was fantastic. Thank you guys from the bottom of my cold, dark little heart. It meant so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get to the top of the show. But yeah, before I get verklempt again, Nick, thank you. I'll leave it at that. And let's go and talk about NXT.
He knew nothing. He literally knew nothing. I surprised the shit out of him. Thank you guys. You guys all made that possible. Thank you very much. All of you that have put money in the tip jar, all of you patrons that have contributed every month for the last quarter, thank you. To kick things off again, LNM with $3.50 in the tip jar. Thank you very much off the bat.
Guys, seriously.
Just rocks. NXT. Look, is this I was starting to get a little down on the North American Championship picture, and I think we've been pretty vocal about that the last couple of weeks. We seem to be on spin cycle here, where we're just repeat. And you know what? It got good again this week.
Well, yeah, because we had what was supposed to be a takeover match. Keith Lee, by the way, best form Keith Lee. This is why you knew he was going to win coming into this, because he had the chin strap and the little, the perfectly manicured mustache. That's my favorite form of Keith Lee, is that beautiful line down the chin. Him versus Dominik Dijakovic. God, I hate saying that. Dominik Dijak. Thank you. Versus Damian Priest. Triple threat for the North American Championship. I thought the build to this was lackluster. I thought that the match itself was baller, but unfortunately, this is a great example of how what should be a match that makes the crowd lose their damn minds can be kind of underwhelming if there's no audience.
Yeah.
I was sitting there half this match going, God, I wish I could hear people freak out over this move. God, okay. Let's just see a 6'7" guy do a Frankensteiner. Let's watch another one do a freaking twisting moonsault. Like, let's see the most insane stuff you could possibly see big men do. Keith Lee picking up power bombing Damian Priest onto Dijakovic repeatedly over and over and over and over again. And then, so much crazy stuff in this match. Not a single peep. Total silence. It was brutal.
Yeah. It's tough to watch. And I think that's one of the things that stands out. I mean, we just got done with AEW. They had, 12 people? 10 to 12 people on the outside of the ring. And just like that, it was, it was enough noise to fill the void of silence. And at the same time, when you do something that should get all the cheers and all the reactions from both sides, from both the heels and the faces on each side of the ring in NXT, I don't understand why they can't put people in the arenas. I don't understand why you can't have people there, especially when you're taping this stuff. So you're exactly right. These kinds of moves should invoke all kinds of reactions from a crowd, and it's so hard to not get that. And it really drives home the point of how important it is to us as fans to have that crowd reaction, because we react not based on what the crowd is, but we may agree or disagree with how a particular regional crowd acts or reacts to things that are going on. So with this match in particular, yeah, Dijak shouldn't be able to Frankenstein or anybody off of a top rope, but he's doing it to silence. Not even the commentary can overcome.
Brutal. And this is the thing. It was a great match. Great match. Just wet fart in the wind.
Yep. Will James with $36 freaking dollars in the tip jar. Man.
Love you, brother.
You guys, thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. It always shakes me. The lack of reactions also, like I was mentioned, Dijak did the spinning moonsault. And I was like, that's got to be the end. That's got to be the end. Keith Lee kicks out. And because there was no, from the crowd, I went, no, really, that should have been the end. That's kind of dumb. He got kicked out of that. Yeah. It underscored the fact that there are some moments that they just do to keep matches going just because it pops the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really did underscore that. So it's, at the end of the day, they put on a great match. I cannot in any way fault the performers. It's just situational. It's just the situation they were in. It's a tragedy. It is what it is. Let's move on. Where do things go from here? Keith Lee retains. He ends up picking the win, pins Dijak again. By the way, for everyone in the chat who's talking about how Dijak's name is too long, don't. This is good. It's a good thing. When he goes to the main roster, Vince needs to have things to cut off your name so it will go back to being Dijak on the main roster. We figured it out. We figured out why they're doing it. All right, so it's okay. Where do things go from here? At the end of this, Damian Priest wasn't involved in the finish. He went for let's see, Dijak went for a Feast Your Eyes. Priest blocked it with his nightstick that he'd pulled out.
Yeah.
Ended up kind of bopping himself too. Dijak injured his knee. Keith Lee pounced Priest all the way out of the ring and then gave a spirit bomb to Dijak for the win. Where does this leave us now in the North American title picture? Where does this leave us with Priest and Dijak and Keith Lee? Is it Priest and Keith? Because is that exciting at this point to anybody?
No, I don't think either one of them against Keith Lee would be. There needs to be other opponents.
Yeah.
There's got to be somebody else. Where's Matt Riddle? Those two are old.
Killian Dane.
You know? Where's Killian Dane?
Well, Matt Riddle's up in the tag picture.
I know.
Remember? So I'm just saying.
Yep.
But you know what was good, and despite having no crowd, was the gauntlet match, the second chance gauntlet match for the number one contenders ladder match, which is happening next week. And it was a bunch of women who'd already lost their match to be in this ladder match. They all got to face each other in a gauntlet match. Out at number one, Shotzi Blackheart facing Deonna Purrazzo. Shotzi beats Deonna. Then she beats Xia Li. Then she beats Aaliyah. Then she beats Kaden Carter. Each one of these, she guts it out, makes it happen, taps out Kaden and Xia, I believe.
Yeah.
Taps both of them out. And then ultimately faces the team kick herself, Dakota Kai with her buddy Reina Gonzalez. Reina figures into the finish as you'd expect, distracts Shotzi, and Shotzi gets beaten for this second chance. And Dakota Kai goes back into the ladder match. I think it's the right choice. That's the way to establish that Dakota's the heel. Extra heely, like she can only get in by cheating. It undoes the weird booking of having her lose initially, which you kind of shouldn't have her do, but I guess this is a more scurrilous way of getting in.
Sure.
And I honestly think that Shotzi is at the top of this next class of NXT women, if that makes sense, Nick. What did you think about all of this?
I thought it was a show out time for Shotzi Blackheart. I thought Deonna Purrazzo as well looked fantastic in the opening of the gauntlet, and then Xia got added to it or brought in next, and I was like, okay, Shotzi Blackheart, Deonna Purrazzo, Xia Li, like the other ones we'd seen. Kaden also getting some showing there.
Aaliyah and her new nose looked great too. Like honestly, like it was all pretty. Right. That's the thing is I was actually watching this going, God damn, they have a deep women's roster in NXT. Every time we say this, every time they show off like this, look how many women we have that are all awesome. It's crazy. It's crazy. And Shotzi does seem to be the one that they're looking at the hardest. But you see her going through this gauntlet match and you go, yeah, she's the most well-rounded. She's got everything. She's got the gimmick. She's got the presentation. She's got the way she carries herself. She has the moves. She's got the crispness. She is absolutely, all she doesn't have is the tenure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if this were a year from now, she'd be in this gauntlet match, if not winning it.
Yeah.
Like just
I
saying
think
that right now.
She's got future women's champion written all over, in my opinion. She's got the charisma. She's got the presence. She's got the in-ring ability. We haven't heard her promo too much yet. That's the one thing that I'm still a little uncertain of, but I know she's got history in other promotions doing that kind of stuff. So I'm all about, you guys know me. I have my eyes all over Kaden Carter. I think she's a superstar in the making. I also think Deonna Purrazzo is a bit got some veteran in her. So I think she's really good for the division. But I think Shotzi Blackheart has a unique look, a unique gimmick. Those are hard to find kind of things.
She's going to fit into a place that doesn't exist already. Kind of like a Ruby Riott does, or the women's division is tough because it's too easy to have too many of the same looking women, right?
Yep.
Which is
too many Lanas.
Too many Charlottes. You know, that's the joke, right? Lana is what was the word? She was.
I don't remember.
I know that Lacey
South
was Southern
Florida
Charlotte. Trailer Trash Charlotte, I think, was the mean way of putting it for a while there. She was Russian Charlotte for a while when she had a good gimmick.
Bulgarian Charlotte, Russian
Bulgarian Charlotte, right. So, but that's the thing is that Vince has what he likes, right? The tall, good-looking blonde, or just a blonde in general. You can be little and spunky like Alexa Bliss or Trish Stratus, and he'll be fine with that too, as long as you're blonde. But there's lots of room to fill niches, right? If you don't look like anyone else in the women's division, there's a place for you. They'll find a place for you. It may not be a big place, but they'll find a place for you. Shotzi's totally, except for maybe the closest thing to her is like a Ruby Riott. It's the closest thing to her. But she's even, I
not
think,
even close, really.
I was going to say, she's different enough from Ruby Riott to be kind of her own thing as well. So I'm just thinking in terms of what Vince would see. You know, he's going to see them as being, oh, they've got colored hair and they're into that punky rock music. And so, you know, and they're so that's kind of what I see Vince is seeing it. But yeah, definitely loving me some Shotzi. And that's not just because she's hometown girl, Oakland, California. Represent. Yes. Velveteen Dream had a match with Bobby Fish en route to his match with Adam Cole. Beat Bobby Fish pretty clean. Death Valley Driver.
I love Dream trash talking him in the middle of the match going, come on, old man. You know, just calling him out on some certain things. Some more fourth wall stuff. The fourth wall stuff has been working, I'll say, in this era more so than it normally does. We're having fourth wall WrestleMania this weekend, in case you guys were unaware. All the matches are based on like fourth wall breakage. We're having Alan Jones versus Mark Calloway in a graveyard match.
Right. Boneyard match.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Graveyard is just a little too.
Oh no, Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a boneyard match.
Can't say graveyard. Too serious.
Oh, I'm sorry, because there's actual graves there.
Way to hit it on the head, Nick. No, what was interesting about this was Fish was beaten, I thought, fairly easily by Velveteen Dream. Was that okay? Was it okay that happened? Did it make Fish look weak, or were they trying to make Velveteen Dream look that strong? Was that the point?
I think that was the point. I think if you had put him out there with a Kyle O'Reilly, it would have been a little too competitive. I wanted to see Dream look strong here. I wanted to see that he could hang even with a seasoned veteran like Bobby Fish. I wanted to see him be able to hang, be able to do some of the moves, and getting the win over someone who has been multiple-time tag team champion with the background of Red Dragon and all of that stuff. It really puts a good stamp on Velveteen Dream. And look, a couple of years now, we've been very high on Patrick, on Velveteen. We've known that he was going to be.
Now you're breaking the fourth wall.
Hey, it's
Patrick.
fourth wall weekend, man. So he's 23. We've been saying that for a couple of years now, maybe 24 now. He is the one. You know, if Drew McIntyre was a chosen one at a certain point, I have all of my eyes on Velveteen Dream, all three of them. On Velveteen Dream as the next big star of NXT and maybe even the main roster.
Wow.
Yep.
Big words from Mr. Howell.
Yep.
Kushida had a match with Joaquin Wilde. They actually made reference to the fact that Kushida's had a bit of a rough go of it. Came with a lot of hype, and that hasn't really happened because of injury, which is just so scarily similar to Kenta. This is scaring me a lot, man. But once again, after Kushida beats somebody, last time it was Raul Mendoza, this time it's Joaquin Wilde, someone gets abducted in the damn parking lot. Joaquin Wilde gets pulled into a van and they drive off. Mr. Regal, hello. At some point, you got to get some security out there. You having wrestlers get abducted in broad nighttime. That's not good. Do you think it was appropriate for Sam Roberts, who, by the way, was on commentary, much to my chagrin? Do you think that it was... Do you think it was appropriate of him to call out Kushida's
if Sam Roberts is ever on commentary
his questionable
again, you hear me, Trips? You watch it?
I've got
turning
some bad
the TV
news
off
for you. Nick, I've got some bad news.
Oh boy.
But we'll get to that. Do you think that it was concerning that he would bring that up, or do you think that he was towing the company line that's a storyline thing that they're going to turn into? And if so, is that going to work out?
All I heard, I didn't hear a word he said. I just heard nails running across a chalkboard when he speaks. It's awful. He should never be allowed to put a headset on again or have a microphone in front of him on WWE programming. It's awful. It's awful. I'd rather listen to Jerry the King Lawler laugh about puppies.
I didn't think it was that bad. It wasn't great. I mean, considering the high quality, the high standard that we have for NXT announcers, it could have been better, but I didn't think it was that bad. He did his job.
How much do you guys appreciate Mauro and Beth Phoenix right now.
Well, that's true.
I'm
That's
just
true.
saying.
Definitely, they can come back anytime. Okay, so back to this whole thing. Do you think this is a storyline thing? Like, for instance, it's both Kushida's opponents that are getting taken. Like, is Kushida turning heel? Are they going to give him a makeover, and he's going to be, abducting these people? Like, what? Or is that irrelevant? Is it something else? And it's just coincidence that that's after Kushida matches. Like, what do you think's happening there?
I'm still hung up on the Sam Roberts thing. I'm sorry.
All right.
Oh, God. Sam Roberts makes me wish Thanos would snap his fingers, and I'd be willing to take the chance that I was one of them just to try and get... It's so bad. Please never put him on TV again. Jesus, it took away from so much.
You don't think that you're getting worked a little bit?
I'm absolutely... Maybe that's the point.
Remember how much he was getting cheered? Mansoor was getting cheered and Sam was getting booed in Portland? Like, it's literally his gimmick to make you hate him.
Jesus. Mission accomplished.
Good grief.
There's me disliking a commentator, and then there's me wanting to turn off your entire TV show because I can't hear or pay attention to anything that's going on over the grating sound of his voice for 2 hours
But you still make
straight.
it through SmackDown every week with Michael Cole.
Maggle I can deal with. Maggle I've been listening to for 20 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just immune.
Like it's almost it's like it's the brown noise. Like you're just used to it, right? At a certain point.
It's like when you blade your forehead too much, you get that big old scar tissue on your forehead, like New Jack and Abdullah the Butcher and
Sandman.
Yeah. All right, so the next match we had Samuel Shaw versus Kenny Marquez. Oh, sorry, right. It's not Fourth Wall Weekend. We're actually still watching a wrestling show. Dexter Lumis versus Jake Atlas, a debuting Jake Atlas. Welcome, Jake, one of our boys from here in LA.
Yeah.
Dexter Lumis is back. Still as a serial killer. Jake Atlas looked good, even though he got beat. Here's my question: is this the wrong time to be debuting and reintroducing people, Nick? Like, should we be waiting until more people are watching? Or more people care? Or people in the audience to actually react and tell you what's working or what's not about your presentation?
I'm torn on that, man, because I got to tell you, I peed a little bit when Dexter Lumis looked into the camera. I was shook. Like, that dude combined with his music sounds like something out of there's a Thriller movie there with that guy as the antagonist. We've
been wondering where he was. He's fantastic.
Kidding.
Great gimmick.
Him and Chris Statlander need to hang out. Like, their gimmicks like line up in a weird way that they're just so
too much.
Oh man. Whew.
The loon and the woman from the moon.
I really like Dexter Lumis. I hope he gets some action, some time if and when these things return back to normal in the future. So,
given how much time they have on a weekly show, how many people they have in the back, the fact that he's out there right now, I'd say it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Next week, we are getting Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa, the final beat.
Okay.
That feels like they're missing something. Final beating, the final beat down. Nope, the final beat. Final beat off. Wait, phrasing. The final beat. That's all it is. Seems like it should be more than that, but okay. And I guess that's supposed to be the last time they're going to meet. Do you think they're going to be able to pull it off, given these circumstances?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I'm really not sure. This is one of those, like, skeptically optimistic. I have all the faith in the world that these two will deliver a 5-star match. I have no doubt about that. They are going to tear the house down. It's going to be an absolute spectacle. Are we going to care as much if the sixth man, a.k.a. the audience, is not there? Are we going to be as engaged? I don't know yet. And I'm still very shook about all of these empty arena settings to the point that I really haven't made up my mind. The ones that I'm really enjoying are AEW on Wednesday nights because they're putting at least a handful of wrestlers out there to be music beds, basically. Background noise.
Right.
And have some kind of interaction from time to time throughout the 2-hour show. This is all just empty. And it's still very weird for me to hear dead silence in between moves. Like, once you hit the planks and the mat, there's 2 to 3 seconds of silence in there before you start stirring around again. And you just hear the referee. And then the microphones and the headsets doubling up and you getting the echo effect. We heard it a lot on SmackDown earlier tonight. With Cole yelling and 2 mics picking it up, so you get that echo reverb effect. Like,
annoying.
all of that is just awkward and weird, and it pulls my eye and my attention away from what's actually going on in the match. So, yeah, I really have high hopes that they've done a good job with all of this taped stuff, that WrestleMania is still going to be very enjoyable, but it's kind of to be determined at this point. I want this to be the match we were supposed to get last WrestleMania, last TakeOver Mania.
Yeah.
The end-all, be-all, the feud finally ends, the last match, and then Ciampa got hurt. Now we're kind of getting it again in a sort of reverse fashion.
This actually makes me wonder. I mean, if they are really saying, okay, the feud's over here, this is the end, this is the bow on top, this is the cherry on the cake, it would be really fun. And I know they've never really done this, and I've wondered why. But I think it's mostly because a lot of their feuds are very messy.
Yeah.
But I think that this is one where you really could go back and you could take every match and you could take every television moment that they had, every moment of their, like, all the way to the Cruiserweight Classic, interviews, and line it up chronologically, one after the other, on a Blu-ray. And just have the Blu-ray called Gargano Ciampa. And just show the evolution of the whole thing. Now,
they did
I know
that 2
part
weeks
of it,
ago.
No, I mean like
For an hour.
full length matches, and like show all of the nuance. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I mean, some points you'd have to like do little highlight inserts, like, you know, everything Gargano did against, for instance, like Adam Cole and his whole journey there, and why that kind of leads him to the dark side. I don't know. I think that'd be cool, because it is, I think, the greatest modern feud that we've had, besides, I'm even going to say at this point, as an overall feud, not matches, I think Kenny Omega and Okada, for me, still surpass them in terms of their match quality in their 4 matches. But I think in terms of the story told, way head and shoulders above that. Yeah. Way above that. Because there's so much more going on with the story and the layers and everything they put into it and the character. So yeah, I would, that's something I thought about this week. Would love to see it. Who knows if it'll happen. That's next week. Also next week, Chelsea Green, Tegan Knox, Candice LeRae, Mia Yim, Io Shirai, and as we know this week, Dakota Kai in a number 1 contenders ladder match. That's also happening. So basically next NXT is going to be the rest of TakeOver. This week was Keith Lee, Dijak, and Priest. Next week, the rest of it. Will Sam Roberts be back is the question. We do know that he was present in Florida for all of these tapings and afterwards.
No.
There's actually even a rumor out there, and I know you say no.
Don't
you looked at the note. You looked at the note. Could he be one of the WrestleMania announcers, because they can't get everyone there to announce WrestleMania? That's the rumor, that part of WrestleMania or all of WrestleMania may be announced in part by Sam Roberts. So throwing that out there, why don't you contemplate that, Nick? Sit on that and spin for a second while I let everybody know that we're going to head over and discuss the go-home episode of Friday Night Smackdown.
Are we going to start off here at the top with what happened at the end?
Yes, we are.
Why don't you do that, and I'll do some color at the end.
Okay.
Because you break that down, because I'm still digesting. That was like 15 minutes ago. So
it's weird to do a show right after the show, isn't it?
Yeah. I like it. It's so fresh. I like it. But
it is. It is. All right. So out comes Elmer. I'm sorry. Brapadu. It's John Cena. He comes out to give a speech. At the end of the show, we've known that John Cena is going to come out and give his thoughts about facing Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania in a Firefly Funhouse match. And it's the culmination of the show. And out comes Big Match John to say that he's not someone who feels fear. The Firefly Funhouse match, no one knows what it is. And he knows that that's just to try to make him afraid and cause panic, which will cause collapse. He says, I'm not panic. I will not panic. I am not afraid, and I will squash Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, and finish what I started 6 years ago.
Oof.
Oh, burn. He compared Bray Wyatt. He said Bray Wyatt is he's not even the level below me. He's way below me. He said, I don't care if it's Run's house or Buns. I don't remember half what he said because he just said it like 15 minutes ago, and I didn't have a chance to write it down because we had to come and do the show. So I didn't get a chance to really study it. But bottom line was he dissed Bray Wyatt for about 6 or 7 minutes, referencing, of course, that WrestleMania 30 match, which is kind of the basis for this match, which I thought was a great thing to base it on because as we talked about yesterday in our bonus episode for you patrons, the history of Bray Wyatt going downhill starts with him losing to John Cena at WrestleMania 30. And that's not just WWE retconning it to that. It's actually pretty true if you look at it. Like, that's where it really all started going wrong. But I like the fact that they are really basing it on that Bray has never forgiven John for that's been a consistent thorn in his side. And then the puppets come out as John finishes up his speech saying, yeah, I'm going to kick Bray Wyatt's ass. There's nothing he can throw at me that's going to shake me. Out come the puppets to say, yeah, John, when we're done with the match, you're going to come live with us forever and ever and ever. Yay. Oh, and then everything goes really quiet. So quiet, in fact, Nick, that you were talking about the production earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the only mic they had on, or maybe they just isolated the audio track for Ramblin' Rabbit. He goes, he's here, and everything else is so quiet. It actually was creepy. It felt like the whole room dropped out because you had all the ambient noise for the rest of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ambient noise goes away. It was a great setup effect. You hear Ramblin' Rabbit go, oh, he's here. The lights slowly.
This is the beauty of pre-taping a show, by the way. You can post-produce it.
Yeah, and it's in subtle ways that actually really worked.
Yeah.
Lights go out, of course. Lights come back on. Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, is standing up on the crow's nest, bathed in red light, staring at John Cena in the mist. And John Cena stares back, and the Fiend stares back at him, and that mask looks really freaking good. It's really scary. It really is intimidating.
No blinking, eyes just frozen pose.
Great moment.
1,000-yard stare.
Cut back to John Cena, and oh my God, Bray Wyatt is behind him.
Let me in.
All of a sudden, they cut back to John Cena, and Mr. Rogers Bray is over his shoulder, leans in real quick, and goes, "Let him in." Boom, and it just sharp cuts to black, slowly fades back up. John Cena's alone again. And that's the end of the show.
No, they should have just left it on black and trademarked a black screen.
No, I liked it coming up with him being alone again. Because
yeah, okay, that's fine.
Right,
yeah.
With him being alone and looking shook. First of all, great jump scare.
Yes.
With Bray popping up behind him. Great way of cutting teleportation. I'm not going to say they looked at the Matt Hardy thing from last week. I'm not going to say that. But I am going to say they executed this jump scare very well.
I peed a little.
Well, there's too much information, and then there's that, Nick. Thank you very much. I hope you changed your drawers before you did the show. You still wet? Still feeling damp?
I didn't have time.
Oh, good.
It just dried naturally. It's fine.
I'm sure.
I am Southern, you know. I was raised in the woods.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll say this. I thought if this is the kind of good post-produced stuff we've got to look forward to the next couple of nights, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Because the way that they edited the jump scares, the way that they did the audio processing and editing, the way that they just handled this whole thing, if this is a teaser for what's to come the next couple of nights, ooh, that looks good. Not just that match, that confrontation, that between those two, I'm talking about the whole thing. If they're putting this much effort into one 10-minute segment, and I looked at the clock, there was 8 minutes left when Cena came out. They did all this in 8 minutes. To be fair, it was 1 minute of Bray and the editing. The rest was just Cena doing another typically strong Cena promo. Yeah. The one note I would have, and I think I've said this before, I feel like the thing that triggers the Fiend coming out, the electrical noises and static and everything like that, needs to be chopped down to one little bong, hit that horn. So basically just cut the first one out. And you don't like the anticipation of the first couple? The first one can get cut out. The second one where it's and then hit that horn.
Right.
As a glass shatter.
Like the Inception horn.
Yes.
The Brayception.
I love
Brayception.
But I mean, imagine if, much like Undertaker's gong, imagine if you just hit that horn and the lights went out. Oh,
It may evolve to that. I think at some point
I think it will.
Like kind of like how Finn's entrance kept getting truncated. So they might actually end up doing that. But yeah, no, this was a really strong go home moment. I have to say, having just finished SmackDown an hour and 50 minutes ago now, that was a strong ending. I was suffering for a bit of this show, but that ending, I went, oh, hell yes. And maybe it's the horror fan in me. Maybe it's the fact that I keep wanting them to nail the Fiend. I keep wanting them to do right by Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And this was doing right by Bray Wyatt. So that made me happy. So for me, it was a really strong go home. And I just was like, yes. I also thought it was great that John pointed out, well, now we know since Goldberg exposed that the Fiend can be weak. Like little moments like that in this, I thought were great. As you said, fourth wall breaking, but not really, because I felt they kept it just within kayfabe.
Well, John's infamous for doing that level of work, right? The moments comment and things like that.
He's become infamous for that, unfortunately, but I don't think it's necessarily the case, because right here, and they did a terrible job of explaining this at the time, and they should have actually led into it with this or actually pre-thought this. But the idea that to get his hands on John Cena, the Fiend had to drop the title to Goldberg because he didn't really care about the title.
Yeah.
If they could turn the ship into that storyline, which they have started to do, you know what I mean? Like if they just had that ready at the time, it would have taken the bad taste out of a lot of people's mouths.
Yep.
You know, again, story. If you can tell the story, people will forgive any of your booking if you can just tell the story right. And that's an example of that. Is, you know, the next night have the Fiend just be like, I didn't really need the title. I wanted to get John. And if Goldberg can have the damn title, I don't give a crap.
It's like I said on our bonus episode yesterday, my thoughts on this is that they didn't want to have the Fiend holding the title. They wanted to have Cena go against the Fiend.
You can't give him 17.
You can't you can't have him lose a championship match when he could potentially break the record. That's what dropped, and I think they wanted to have Cena go out on his back like a champ to put Bray over and put Fiend over at Mania. I think that's probably been a long-running idea or plan, but Bray can't have the title to do that. And I think that's why they swapped it at a Saudi Arabia show so that we could get past
Let's get it done. Let's get it over with.
Let's rip that effing Band-Aid off, and then he can get it back after John lays down for him, and he gets to say his goodbyes and all that stuff. And
if he does, I think the Fiend doesn't need the belt. But speaking of ripping off the Band-Aid, he doesn't. He's better off without it. I'm glad he doesn't have it.
I agree.
In hindsight, I'm grateful for Goldberg just taking it, ripped off the damn Band-Aid. Speaking of ripping off the Band-Aid, let's talk about this next match and get through it, because I don't want to talk about it too much. Naomi.
One thing before we go into this vitriol, Esme with another $10 in the tip jar. Thank you very much. Good Lord. Thanks for watching SmackDown, guys, she says. Well, why wouldn't we? Did you not get to see it? I guess that was the question. She said,
all I know is thank you, Esme, not only for that, but for also putting some of the funniest one-liners in our chat I've seen today. I haven't been able to really call it out, but she's been throwing down some one-liners down there that have been hilarious.
Yeah, Paul Newman movies too. One of my favorite actors. So, yeah.
Paul Newman. All right, let's from the good to the bad. Naomi versus Tamina versus Lacey Evans, with Bayley and Sasha on quote-unquote commentary. This was just 10 minutes of cringe.
Still not as bad as Sam Roberts on NXT. I
don't know. I think I would take Sam Roberts over Bayley and Sasha trying to do commentary with Michael Cole.
You're fired.
It hurt me. My ears were bleeding. It was so bad. The match was irrelevant. That was the worst part too. It was basically like I don't have to tell you what happened in the match. It doesn't matter.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Kind of.
Tamina wins the match. She super kicked Naomi. Whoop-de-doo. At some point, Sasha tried to get up to interfere. She threw Lacey in the stairs, ended up eating a kick from Naomi. She got laid out. Bayley tried to get involved, and afterwards tried to shake Tamina's hand, and then Tamina super kicked her. Sasha tried to say, hey, we're team bad, right? Tamina's like, yeah, super kicked her. Tamina stands tall. Or no, she gave her a Samoan drop, not a super kick.
Right on her shoulder, which I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to hear Sasha has a separated shoulder. Thanks.
She's not Nia Jax. Calm down. But at the bottom line was this to me underlined that the only important people in this match are Bayley and Sasha, which is the last thing you want to do. They try to get over the fact that Tamina is big and strong. I think that they did their best effort at trying to say that, hey, Tamina also matters, but it felt hollow. It definitely made Naomi and Lacey Evans feel completely irrelevant.
I might have booked myself into a shoot.
What? I don't even know what that means.
Worked myself into. We'll
There
do that
you
when
go.
we do the pick'ems. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, good. We'll leave it at that.
Those
then
of you that
and
were in
head
the
over-
chat know what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh.
In the Discord, I mean.
Oh, Lord.
We'll
anyway,
go over that in the pick'ems. Yeah. Go ahead.
We'll leave that where it is. That happened, and it was. And that's all I have to say about that. Let's talk about something that I know you've been waiting to talk about this whole show, Nick.
Finally,
Tucker had a match with
I
Dolph
have
Ziggler.
been redeemed. Yes,
Tucker had a
Lord.
match with Dolph Ziggler, and the match also wasn't terribly relevant,
Okay.
although it was actually a pretty fun match. It was nice to see Dolph, selling his ass off for a guy who's really talented like Tucker.
Yeah.
At the end, though, Dolph did give a zigzag onto the stairs, which arbitrarily caused a disqualification for the match. Out came Otis to try to, well, let's see. First, Dolph tried to kill Tucker on the stairs again, tried to hurt him. Mandy came out to stop him, saying, no, it's too much, it's too far. Otis then came out to chase off Dolph. And once all the pieces of this little play, this little menage a cinq, were in the ring, we're in the arena, that's when it hit. If any of you have been paying attention, the little like static interference with the circle of lights has been going on only over the Mandy and Tucker and Otis and Dolph segments for the last few weeks. I think I pointed it out 2 or 3 shows ago, and you said I was over nitpicking it, but it turned out to be something, because this week, sure enough, those lights came back, and it was revealed that this person, whoever it may be, Mustafa Ali, was sitting in front of a bank of computers. He's a hacker. It's a hacker gimmick.
Which I don't think we've ever had before in WWE.
No, Solomon Crow never existed. And sure enough, he turns around, still hooded. We can't tell who it is. Mustafa Ali. And he turns back around and says, the truth will be revealed in a, his voice box kind of thing. And he shows video of that harlot, Sonya Deville, messing with the text messages to make Otis be late in erasing his text back to Mandy Rose so that Dolph could slide in her DMs and get to that dinner on time and just absolutely steal her from Otis. Even showing video of Sonya Deville and Ziggler talking about their little plan. All right, so classic WWE production, this wasn't exactly Hollywood cinema here, but fine. It's WWE drama, but I thought for WWE drama, it was executed pretty well. Mandy didn't really play her shock and horror at having seen this so great, but my God, Otis did. Nick, I'm sure you have something prepared for this too. The plot twist has been revealed the day before the WrestleMania match theoretically could happen, that Ziggler and Sonya conspired to have Ziggler start dating Mandy Rose and steal her from Otis. Your boy, Otis, I might add. Dolph tried to get away at the end of this, and by the way, Otis threw himself at Dolph trying to catch him so hard he split his elbow open.
Nice.
What do you think about all of this? Nick, this is your favorite story in WWE right now. You happy with this?
Just 5-star. Mwah. You've introduced a hacker gimmick, which gets my little tech going. Whoever the hell's in the black hood, I love it. In fact, I don't care if it's Mustafa Ali. Never reveal it. Never reveal who it is. Make it a long-running thing that GTV, definitely.
GTV, totally.
Make it run forever. Make it be the thing that goes away for a year and then randomly pops back up whenever you've got the next story,
no, they don't
whatever.
have that kind of attention
span.
Come
on.
No. This is fun. Okay. But to take a while to reveal who the hacker is. Come on, Nick. At least now that we know there's a hacker out there trying to expose the truth, right?
No.
Don't do it right away.
No, don't reveal it.
No.
I don't want to know who it is. I want to know that there's anonymous out there doing the good work. right? Literally, even in WWE kayfabe, showing this video. Now, did we see a little bit of this back last year with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax and Mickie James during the bullying thing? We saw like some footage. They tried to do something similar to this.
That was like, there was a camera guy who left a camera in the room. They kind of explained it in a dumb way.
Accidental
this was
hot mic or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
No, I loved this. I loved the reveal. I love the fact that I called it a month ago that it was going to be Sonya that was behind all of this.
Sure.
I love the fact that that we now have been redeemed and we're going to get even more stuff with this. We got to see Mandy saying that she really did like Otis. He's a little bigger than I like, but he's cute in a different way. Like,
that's for sure.
All of that organic, warm kind of he's going to get the girl stuff kind of comes back. It came running back. Even after they've screwed things up over the last couple of weeks. Just when I think you couldn't get any dumber, WWE, you totally redeem yourself. I absolutely loved it.
They played right into your wheelhouse there,
they did.
Nick. Yes.
They did.
What are you going to do when the hacker turns out to be Mae Young and Mark Henry's hand? Their son, the hand. I'm curious.
No? The hand would be in a glove, not a hoodie. He would be in a handy.
That would be amazing. It doesn't matter. He just, maybe he could have like all the other fingers are down. It's just the one. He's like giving us all the middle finger. That's how. No.
How do you
like one of these? Like here's the shoulders and there's the hood. I'm just
saying.
Do
the Dane Cook super finger.
Flipped off our audience. Sorry. It was reversed. It was flipping off the wall. All right. So yeah, no, this was fun. Do you feel like they should have waited for this until after their match at WrestleMania, or does this give Otis another reason to kick Dolph's ass? Exactly. Is this more drama for the match? Okay.
This is more drama for the match. This is good build. Right. Great to do on the go home. Where the match at WrestleMania tomorrow night or Sunday, whenever it is, I don't know when that one is just going to be even that much more emotional and charged now that we know the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mandy and Sonya get into it either backstage or in some kind of segment themselves. As a part of this, circling this whole thing. Maybe they're both out at ringside. I really think this turns into, and I think I said it in Discord, I feel like there's no way this doesn't turn into a jaded or jealous lover, I should say, that hopefully this is the angle Sonya always wanted to do in a pseudo-lesbian angle, where that she wanted to have this, that this was part of the idea, where she was trying to woo Mandy this whole time that she's been with her, and she sees her go off after Otis, so she sent the text, and there's going to be that.
I love how this is save it for Nick booking, would you? Like that's
Nick booking's much worse. You are not prepared. None of you are prepared.
I love how everyone's already booking who the hacker is. We people. Esme says it's Ember Moon, which I think is actually kind of a cool idea.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm saying Ali, or the Hand. Butter said it was the mechanical spider. We all know who's dead. He's dead. Drew killed him. Like, come on.
That's funny.
Yeah. But it could be Paul London finally coming back to the company. Oh, wait, probably not. Oh, come on. All right. So next up, we had what I'm going to call the WWE Ruins Ian's Dreams match. Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke Nakamura is given away in a meaningless nothing match on a audience-less episode of Smackdown before WrestleMania. Not to say that the segment was bad. Not to say that there was anything wrong with it. It was fine. It was building towards the match they're having, which is Sami Zayn defending the Intercontinental Championship against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Daniel's got to run the gauntlet, and Gulak's got to run the gauntlet to get to Sami Zayn. All right, it's the story. I get it. But God damn it, it's me being a wrestling nerd and knowing the history between Daniel Bryan and Nakamura that absolutely murders me on this. To see this match, and it's just a giveaway, right? A giveaway nothing match.
Yeah.
That's what hurt me about this. I mean, just to let you in where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Daniel Bryan, back when he was Bryan Danielson, and
American
Shinsuke
Dragon.
Nakamura.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before all of that.
Oh wow. Okay.
They both trained in Inoki's LA dojo in the early 2000s. They were roommates. It was the two of them and Lyoto Machida, who's an MMA fighter now.
See, guys that were in the
MMA
Discord, I told you
now.
Ian would know. We were talking about this in Discord without you.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't there. I was busy writing the show. Yeah, they were roommates together. The only matches they've ever been in together outside of WWE were in tag matches in New Japan, and it's almost impossible to find those matches. They've never been in a singles match together. One of the reasons why Shinsuke Nakamura came to WWE, he announced he was leaving New Japan at the beginning of 2016. Later, a couple months later, Daniel Bryan got injured and was out. So they never actually crossed over in WWE. But Daniel Bryan was one of the reasons why Shinsuke, and he helped convince Shinsuke to come to WWE. And he never had a chance to face him. And Shinsuke said, I wanted to come there to face Daniel Bryan in WWE. Never had the chance. And so to have it finally happen, that this match that was for them a dream, for them to finally come around full circle and have a singles, that's how monumental this match was. It's the first singles match between two guys who were roommates in the New Japan dojo 18 years ago, 19 years ago. And this was their first match together.
I agree with you completely, knowing all of that context. Why in the hell would they not use that to build up a feud between the two of them? And like, this was some of the most entertaining work I've seen Shin do since he's been in WWE. Like, I really enjoyed this match, and I agree with you. I hate that it was given away, but I understand why they did, because they've spent so much time on Sami Zayn and so little time on Shinsuke Nakamura. So if Daniel Bryan wins, maybe we're blessed with a Shinsuke Nakamura feud for the Intercontinental to get his Intercontinental title back with Daniel Bryan post-Mania. Maybe. That's the hope we can have.
I can hope that it spins into a Nakamura feud, but again, right now, Sami seems to be the focus of this group, and which is fine because he is the personality. And this whole bit, this whole segment drove that home. Apparently,
we had a little technical glitch there.
Hello. I apologize, everybody. Something happened.
Yeah, 1 second, guys. We're back on, but just hang tight with us for 1 second. Your video is completely foobar.
Huh? That's weird.
You're all kinds of pixelated and. Oh boy, do you have an internet outage there or something for a second?
Not that I know of.
Whew.
Else.
That killed our entire Skype session, whatever that was.
Holy crap.
So you're
Thanks, Spectrum, pixelated. You pieces of crap. Called him the other day. Oh, trust me, I'm working on fixing this on my end, everybody, and I apologize. I'm working on fixing this on my end, and they are just bears to work with.
Yeah, you're starting to come back now a little bit.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can keep going wherever we were. I don't remember. That was weird.
Well, if everyone in chat, if you could do me a favor, let me know what was the last thing that you really heard from me, because I know I was kind of rambling there, starting to go off on a bit of a speech. But you can tell me the last thing you heard, and I'll go back to where I was. And that'll be very helpful.
Yeah, the hacker is listening. Apparently,
the hacker's listening. Shit, we got too close to the source.
Right.
They listen. We know they listen.
Yeah, maybe it is Paul London.
Hey man, that rabbit trap.
We were talking about Shinsuke Nakamura and
yes,
Sami
thank you,
Zayn and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Jessup. Right. So Sami is the focal point of the whole thing. That's why he was on commentary. It's why he was doing a great job of explaining things on commentary, setting up the whole feud, telling the story of all of this, including calling Gulak a nobody, which I think may factor into the actual match at WrestleMania. This ended up in a giant beatdown. Nakamura looked like he was on the ropes, and they interfered and cost Daniel Bryan the match.
Right.
And there was a beatdown on Daniel Bryan, Sami, and Gulak after the match. So I have to admit, just because of my predilection and my nerddom for both of these guys, for Daniel Bryan and Nakamura, it made me a little bitter about the Sami Zayn Daniel Bryan match at WrestleMania, which is hilarious because I should be amazingly excited about that, because that's also a fantastic match that I've wanted for years and years and years. Do you think, Nick, given all the setup they've had for this, And I've heard people say that this is another WrestleMania match on this card. It's a little bit of a letdown on the build. I think they've done a solid job. It's just that there's a bunch of guys they haven't done a good job of keeping hot in the eyes of the audience. And it's only people like me and maybe you, Nick, that are a bit more on the nerdy sides of wrestling that are sitting here going, I love all these guys. Freaking Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura, Drew Gulak. You're talking about 5 guys. You put them in a fatal 5-way and just leave them alone and let them go. You could be looking at a 5-star match, like some of the most talented, amazing technical wrestlers on your roster
of the last 20 years. Frankly,
what a lineup!
Yeah,
and what we're getting is a story-based match about Sami Zayn trying to avoid contact with people and being this kind of like somewhat of a mastermind. Like, it's not what I think the marks, for lack of a better word, if you want to call me a mark or a nerd, whatever you want to call it. It's not what I want to see out of this. I'm excited to see it because of the talent, but I know it's not going to be what I want it to be. But I said that about Gulak and Daniel Bryan too, and look what they gave us.
Yeah, and I didn't know I wanted to see a match between Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura until tonight. And because I think Daniel Bryan's going to beat Sami Zayn to becoming an Intercontinental Champion, and we're going to have some kind of turn where Gulak says, I'm better than you, and he ends up putting the title on the line. I think this is all to work towards Gulak-Bryan. But after seeing that match tonight with Shinsuke, in my head I'm going, there might be a better alternative here that's more heel face.
But what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about, is that's just us seeing it now because I gave you some context.
Yeah.
The fact that they had this match and it was a very straightforward WWE match.
Does anybody, like you were saying, that's not a 20-year, that's been watching all this stuff outside of WWE, frankly, for 20 years, do they have any context or idea of what the gravity of these two getting in the ring together is? No.
And they didn't sell it on commentary.
Nope.
Nothing was said about it. They didn't say a damn thing about what a big deal that is.
Yeah.
And that's what was kind of killing me. But at the same time, I'm just going to sit back and be like, cool, I'm going to be entertained by Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And just, it is what it is. But to be clear, it was for me sitting there like watching Picasso and Monet painting a picture for the lobby of a hotel. You know what I mean? That's how it felt. Was this could be so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
But my God, these guys, they're doing that. Oh, it hurt.
Yeah.
Finally, Miz and Morrison had a segment where they clarified that they can beat the Usos in the New Day. It was supposed to be a Miz TV segment, but the Usos came out to interrupt. And the New Day came out to interrupt the Usos. And then Miz and Morrison came out to interrupt the Usos, the New Day, who were starting to bicker a little bit. And then the Usos, the New Day, decided to go up and beat up Miz and Morrison. Miz and Morrison turned the tables and ended up standing tall. Did this set up enough that this is a triple threat where anyone can fight anybody, or did it make us feel like Miz and Morrison were outgunned? That's the first question. The second one is, we are still being told by Meltzer that Miz couldn't work this match, and it's a triple threat singles match, ladder match for the titles. And they didn't explain that at all on this show. This still looks like it's going to be a tag match across the board.
Yeah.
So who do we believe? So that's my 2 questions I've got right now.
I feel like it was taped already.
It was taped already, and they're saying it was taped as a triple threat singles match.
Wow.
But we don't have confirmation of that.
I guess I'll believe that when I see it. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. This could be a huge stumble by Meltzer if it comes out and it's actually a triple threat tag match. And we actually, he's wrong because he's doubling down on it. When I'm reading his page, he's saying, I don't know how they're going to make this work because they should have set this up on this show, but it's Miz wasn't in this match. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Do you feel like that story-wise they set it up enough, or?
So Morrison against Kofi against Jimmy? Like, is that what we're talking about here? They're just going to pick one each of the tag team, and then they're going to have a single triple threat ladder match for the tag team championships? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, does it?
I don't believe that. And if they do that, it can't be for the titles. It would be completely wrong to still have the titles at stake without it being a tag team triple threat match.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm stuck on that. I don't know, man. I'll see.
I don't know either.
When they announce and they bring the guys to the ring, I'll believe that. Sorry, Meltzer.
I'm now hoping that I just hope that Miz is in it just to piss off Butters in the chat.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. So I'm curious to see how they bring it home. It was fun. It was short. It was fairly meaningless, but it was at least entertaining. Big E saying, "Oh, people at home."
Yep. I laughed. I marked out.
I chuckled. I had a mild chuckle. And then most of the SmackDown was Ric Flair's final match versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. Which I was pissed about. I'm like, why don't you show a match that's relevant? Like, okay, great. One of the all-time classic WrestleMania matches. Great moment. A little feels, but why not show John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30?
Because they already did.
Why not show? I guess they did. Why not show? But okay, something that's relevant to this WrestleMania. You know what I mean? I don't know. If you're gonna show past matches, show something that's relevant to what you're promoting.
Yeah.
It just seemed a little strange, as opposed to, hey, here's a great WrestleMania moment. So,
I don't know.
Anyway.
I actually turned the channel and was hoping Discord would clue me back in. I went away for 20 minutes and came back and caught the end of it. And yeah, that's probably one of my most watched matches in WWE history. It's a
great match.
So I didn't need to sit there for another half hour and watch it again. Especially it included 3 commercial breaks, I think.
Oh, which was just brutal.
Yeah.
Trying to watch it with a commercial break, like, oh my God, gut me.
Oh, it's that time, Ian.
Oh, I've been delaying it.
It's time for us to head over and do our WrestleMania Pick'ems. So for WrestleMania 36, we are not only going in head-to-head competition with all of the phenomenal ones that choose to participate. Again, it is voluntary. If you are at the $5 tier or higher, you will be able to fill a sheet out directly after the show tonight when we post it on Patreon. Yes, I will be including a sheet for everybody else to play along at home, but to compete, you must send your picks to me, and you must be a patron. So don't send them to me if you're not a patron, right? But for everybody in the group, if you guys all want to play along, make your picks, see how you do. Maybe you become a patron for SummerSlam this summer.
Yep.
Pending we have one. Not to be a downer. But,
Hey-o.
But yes, Ian, I just want to clarify that our picks here are these our picks
we're locking in
for going in Raw, or are these our picks for the patrons pick'ems, or both?
This is all in on everything here, Nick.
Oh my God, I am not prepared for 18 matches.
You should. Well, 16, 17 that we're calling.
Okay.
18 total things we have to call right now.
All right, let's do it.
This is gonna be brutal. It could be a bloodbath. And actually, right now, from what I understand, they're actually doing the same thing over on Going in Raw.
Nice.
Where they're giving their pick'ems right now as well. So we're going in blind. They're going in blind. Neither of us knows what the other show is picking. It's as fair as possible. But you, if you are a patron, will know. You'll have a 24 hours notice. So you know what we're picking. You just don't know what we're betting on each one of these. Yeah. You don't know what we're betting. So here we go, Nick. Starting off at the top, we got to run through this because we are running behind.
Yes.
Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Who do you have picking up the win here?
I'm inclined to say Dolph Ziggler because of Sonya Deville interference.
Really?
And that breeds a little bit of caring from Mandy towards Otis. And we end up in a possible intergender match long term here. I'm picking Dolph Ziggler to win.
See, here's the problem. It's going to be a problem through this entire thing is, are they going to culminate some of these at WrestleMania, or are they going to make some of these go on because they want them to have a proper finish later on? That's going to be the big logical problem that I'm going to have with a bunch of my picks here is, do they want this feud to continue past WrestleMania because it's going to be a garbage finish if they have it with no crowd?
Did they know that DeSantis was going to call for the shelter-in-place order statewide, and did they wrap a big bow on all of these? Or are we going to have Otis and Mandy making out as the lights go out?
I thought it was more that, they're anticipating when they're going to get crowds back, let alone, forget that stuff. Like, it's just the crowds. They want to do something in front of crowds. But I'm going to pick, are you locked in on Ziggler there?
I'm going to pick Ziggler, yeah.
All right, well, so I'm going for Otis. I think it's fait accompli. The man's got to get his hands on Dolph Ziggler. We got to move to the next stage of this feud. King Corbin versus Elias in the WGAF match. Who do you have winning this one? Does Elias recover from getting thrown onto concrete, or does King Corbin stand tall at the end of this one?
My heart wants Elias. My head says King Corbin. So I'm going to go King Corbin wins this match.
All right. I am going to pick Elias just because I can't have all the faces win here. Let's see.
There's plenty of matches. It's not going to matter. Just pick who you're.
Yeah, but my gut is the worst thing to follow when it comes to this, Nick. I've got to follow my head on this. But I'm going to say because he tried to kill him, Elias is going to come back strong and have a nice facey moment here. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley.
Black.
This should be a quick one, yeah.
Nobody cares.
Aleister Black. Nobody cares. It's gonna be great, but Black Mass this ends.
Yep.
And frankly, if Lashley does win this, I will burn down Titan Towers. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. Is Seth gonna keep his streak at WrestleMania going, or does Kevin pick up the win here?
I'm torn, man.
This is a tough one.
This is a coin flip one because you stake the viability of the Monday Night Messiah on his ability to stand behind and execute on what he says versus the heart of Kevin Owens, right? Of being able to overcome it. I think Kevin Owens wins here. And I think he does it because originally he got attacked behind the van when Seth revealed that he was turning again. I think Kevin Owens gets one back here. But especially since there's not a title involved. I'm picking Kevin Owens.
I think it's going to gut Kevin Owens' presentation if he doesn't win here after everything that they've set up.
Yep.
Given the fact that it's basically like if he loses here, he is like they set up basically that Seth can't lose at WrestleMania and Kevin can't win. And if they double down on that, it's just going to gut Kevin. So I've got to say Kevin wins this one.
Agreed.
Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a boneyard match. To quote Esme, someone's going to get boned. Someone's going to... Yeah, that's right.
AJ Styles, hopefully this is the one where Taker lays down to put somebody over for reals, and we get sort of the last ride, pun intended, of The Undertaker in the graveyard, in the boneyard, and AJ Styles gets even more shot to the moon because he's the one that retired The Undertaker finally for the third time.
Did you just pick AJ Styles?
I just picked AJ Styles.
I'm going to pick Undertaker and move on before you change your mind. John Cena before... oh, my goodness gracious, Nick. You madman. John Cena versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt in a Firefly Funhouse match.
So it is confirmed we're getting The Fiend in the Firefly Funhouse. It's not going to be Funhouse Bray in the Funhouse.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what John Cena would say.
It's going to be The Fiend. Cena's going to lay down like a champ, put Bray over.
He has to.
Yeah.
It has to. If they don't do this... I will burn down Titan Towers. Edge versus Randy Orton.
Edge.
Last man standing. I wonder.
Edge.
This is one of those ones where do they want to extend this feud because they want to get this in front of a crowd?
Randy's had plenty of WrestleMania moments, Edge.
I wonder. I truly do wonder. I wonder if this is one where they pull some sort of shenanigans on Edge and Randy gets the win here. And they keep this feud going. I truly do. Like, if they want to keep this, I know. I'm going to pick Edge because it's the safe bet.
It
but
is.
I'm voicing the fact that
you have voices in your head. Is that what you're saying?
They're calling to me and they're telling me they understand that Edge might not win this. The Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the Women's Tag Team Championships. This one.
I'm scared of this one.
I'm worried about this one too. What do you think's happening here?
I'm wondering about Kairi at this point. I think she's stuck in Japan. I think they're going to drop the tag team championships to Alexa and Nikki.
She's not. They are allowing flights to and from Japan.
I didn't know.
They are allowing flights.
Okay.
Coming in and out now. One of my bar owners lives in Ireland. She just came back from Ireland. So
one of the reasons my thought process was they're going to drop the tag team titles and let Asuka work singles like she's been doing so brilliantly lately. But that really being the only reason why. I'm still going to pick Bliss and Cross here. They just showed Alexa Bliss could beat Asuka. Are you kidding me? So
yeah, that's
kind of telegraphing it to me.
nervous the most. I think that this was one of those ones I just got I have no confidence in this one.
Me either.
I'll take Bliss Cross.
This is
going to
be a 1.
Just because I think they want to have Alexa hold up a belt at WrestleMania.
Yep.
God, I want to go back and change that Edge one. Damn.
Do it.
I might. We're not done with our pick'ems yet. I might go back and change that.
Are we opening? We're opening up that we
it's
can
open
change
until we're done. Until we're done with the pick'ems,
right.
it's still we can go back and
we'll
second
do
thought
at the
ourselves.
very end. We'll do. Are there any we want to change?
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. Miz and Morrison versus New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships in a ladder match.
That's allegedly going to be 3 singles guys.
Who knows?
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
How do I book that? I don't know. Miz and Morrison retain. Because
okay,
I don't know.
I really don't. This is the problem is I don't think they're retaining, but I got no frickin' clue who's picking them up. I have no idea.
But I'll lean on the edge of the reigning champions.
And I'm kicking myself because I wish I'd checked to see. I don't believe. I know New Day's never won. No, did they win? Did they beat the Bludgeon Brothers for it? Damn, I didn't check to see which teams had won at WrestleMania, won tag team championships at WrestleMania. I did not research. I didn't do my research. So here's the problem. The next one we're talking about is Street Profits versus Angel Garza, Austin Theory. I don't know about you, Nick, but the Street Profits are damn retaining in this.
They
one.
are.
That's
absolutely.
That's not even a question.
So you're inclined to say that the SmackDown is going to change hands.
Yeah. Are they going to have both tag belts stay where they are? That seems strange.
I just don't know if they're not going to retain. It's a 50-50 coin flip with no.
It's a coin flip
with
between
no
New Day
indication
and Usos.
in either way with the New Day or the Usos of who could do it.
Absolutely.
It's a ladder match. I feel like that might favor the Usos a little bit. That's one thing that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it's Kofi on New Day. It favors Miz and Morrison too.
True.
But they stood tall. They stood tall at the end of the show. That's what makes me think that they're not retaining.
Literally on ladders.
Well, then they got knocked off the ladders and they beat everyone up with ladders. So.
I think New Day and Usos are fine where they're at. I think Miz and Morrison need to keep the titles to maintain relevance in multiple facets. I'm going to stick with my pick of they retain.
I do agree. I think Miz and Morrison are more relevant with the tag team championships.
We're going to have to talk about off air or tomorrow during the day what we do if it's confirmed that they're coming out as
it's a singles. Yeah. I'm gonna say Miz Morrison. I think we're stuck with our picks, but yeah. I'm gonna say Miz and Morrison too. I'm gonna be a wuss and do that as well. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan.
We did Street Profits right there retaining. We both agree on that.
Yeah.
They're not dropping Austin Theory.
No. God no. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan Intercontinental Championship. This is a tough one.
Daniel Bryan. Even though Sami just got it, there's more potential with Daniel Bryan and Shin or Daniel Bryan and Gulak than there is with Sami Zayn and even having that title. But in my head, I'm going, but Sami Zayn is so good with it on the microphone, and I'm so torn. Everything in me is telling me Daniel Bryan.
This is where I'm going to go rogue and say Sami Zayn.
Okay.
And possibly because Drew Gulak turns on Daniel Bryan and joins the Artists Collective. Yeah, I'm going rogue on this one.
You heartbreaking son of a bitch.
And I'm leaving it at that.
No!
Rhea Ripley versus, we got to move. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship, the only NXT title defended on this show. Another brutal. This is going to be a bloodbath, Nick. It's going to be a bloodbath. Who do you have, Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair? Come on back to me. Should I go first?
I'm thinking out loud. Does Charlotte Flair actually hold the title in NXT? Is she not on the main shows, but she's on NXT as the women's? I just don't see it as plausible. Rhea Ripley retains. I just don't see, and I think it puts Rhea Ripley over even more massive than she is right now and sends Charlotte back to the main roster with her tail tucked between her legs. And, maybe we get yet another facey Charlotte Flair coming back out of this. Who knows?
It does no good for Rhea to lose to Charlotte at WrestleMania.
100%.
It does all the good in the world. Charlotte can lose this match. And if they have Charlotte win, I'm going to suddenly start siding with the people that are getting sick of her winning everything. The Charlotte wins people.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Reigns people. That's where I'm going to turn. Because right now I'm still on the Charlotte's great. She's wonderful. I don't mind that she's being booked so strong because she's a legacy wrestler. She's got the look. She has the moves. She's a total package. I get it. But with those people, you have to know when to let them elevate other people.
Yep. Yeah,
She's
will way past that already.
Fine if she loses to Rhea Ripley, especially if it's how she loses kind of thing, right? She will be fine. If you elevate Rhea, you elevate the entire NXT brand, which is one of the things they want to do. The whole point is to make NXT feel like a third brand and like the people on that show can hang with the main roster people. Now the only thing that concerns me about this pick is Rhea has already gotten a couple ones over on Charlotte in the last couple pay-per-views, and this may be their way of giving Charlotte hers back. But if they do that, and again, this is WWE, so I'm not saying that they won't, but they very well could. But it'd be a terrible idea. This is one where Rhea should get this one on Charlotte.
What if, and I'll throw this curveball at you, what if this ends up in a sort of schmoz finish of sorts, or Bianca Belair gets involved, costs Charlotte, Rhea or Rhea retains by DQ in some way because of Bianca, and it leads it excuses Charlotte gracefully from this, and we get Rhea Bianca, which is probably what we should have had.
Bianca has been AWOL. She could figure it out.
We haven't figured out where she is in the last few weeks. So
maybe Bianca screws Rhea and Charlotte wins that way, and so that would mitigate our vitriol for Charlotte. Charlotte could still win, but Rhea would look strong in the finish.
Well, I still feel like Rhea would want the honorable victory here, and she would be mad at Bianca even if she, messed with Charlotte to have Rhea retained by DQ.
But then does Charlotte go work NXT for a while?
No.
That seems
I think she's desperately
crazy.
needed on SmackDown.
Is she though?
Yes.
They've got. But they're going to head into. Let's talk about that.
Tamina
right
was
now.
standing tall in a women's match tonight, Ian. We desperately need people on SmackDown Women's Division.
You've got Nia coming back. You'll be fine.
No!
Bayley versus Sasha versus Naomi versus Lacey Evans versus Tamina for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Are you ready for some Nick booking?
Oh, God.
Are you ready?
No, God, don't you do it.
Are you ready for some tin hat?
No.
Sasha Banks screws Bayley, giving Lacey Evans the opportunity to get the sneaky roll-up. Lacey Evans wins the match. It leads to a Bayley and Sasha feud outside of the title. Lacey Evans wins.
The only reason I'm gonna even entertain that is because they did such a horrible job of overplaying how Sasha might turn on Bayley this week.
It's one of two things. It's Sasha's gonna win and turn against Bayley in the middle of the match somehow, or I think somehow she turns and Lacey Evans ends up getting a sneaky win. It ain't gonna be Tamina. It ain't gonna be Naomi. I think Lacey Evans could pull one off here, and this is one I'm taking a chance on.
This is the match that's going to screw a lot of people up. Yep. I'm just saying Sasha because it's the obvious one, and I'm just not feeling like taking a goddamn chance. But you can go Lacey all you want, you absolute psychopath.
Yep.
Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, Raw Women's Championship. This is the one when I'm betting, I'm going to go big on. This is my go big or go home one right here. This is the one that's going to screw me or save me.
Then, all right, go for it.
Shayna Baszler. I think Shayna has to win this. Has to take it off of Becky here. The way that they've built this up, the way that they've set this up, if she doesn't, it murders her character before she even has a chance to get off the ground on main roster.
Yeah.
And depending on
they've
what's
shown that they'll take
Rousey,
it off of Becky. They put it on. I mean, they gave Lacey all those opportunities. So I mean,
Becky said it for a damn year.
Yeah.
It's time, man. She's got a year run. Take it off of her. Now she's got a drag in the chase.
I don't know what I'm going to confidence bet on this one yet, but I'm going to go Baszler as well for my pick.
All right. Good. I'm glad that you're on the same page as I am with that, although that's going to scare the crap out of me when that match happens. Goldberg versus Braun Strowman, the Universal Championship. Your boy versus the Golden One. What do you think, sir?
I'm scared that he's going to get punished for his recent social media activities.
You think that's the reason he's going to lose?
Well, he's just been chumped for about this last year now as well. whatever the hell is going on with Braun Strowman again. Goldberg retains.
Absolutely. Not even a question.
No.
Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. This is where it's going to get ugly here. Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Who wins?
I'm not even going to entertain any more conversation about the fact that Drew McIntyre, after all of his Scottish trainings that he did, could not win. I'm going to pick Drew McIntyre. He is the chosen one, and I know you. I know what you're heading towards, and you're gonna do us in. Remember, you're picking for the show as well here.
I'm well aware of what I'm doing, and I'm picking Brock Lesnar.
Remember how well that worked out for you last time?
I picked against Brock Lesnar last time. Well, that's true. I picked him for the Royal Rumble, and he screwed me, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went all in on Brock Lesnar coming out number one. He's gonna run the gamut, and you put all your points on it.
I went crazy for it. I sure did. I might do it again here.
No.
I think that they should coronate Drew another time. I don't think this is the right time. I think Drew should almost get him here. And because there's no crowd to do it in front of, it should happen at a later date. Possibly SummerSlam if everything's back to normal by then. I don't want him to win it here. I'll even double it down. I don't want Drew to win it at this WrestleMania in this way. I want him to win it at SummerSlam where everyone's so excited to be back that they're cheering and hooting and hollering for everything, that they're just on fire. You have one of the hottest crowds you've ever seen. That's where I want to see Drew win it.
Like the Rumble.
Not here. Not here. Right, the Rumble. I don't want to see it here. I want Brock to win here. For the first time I've ever said that. I want Brock to beat him here just so that we can have that big moment later, because you all know in your heart of hearts, it'll feel better if Drew wins it in front of a rabid, screaming crowd. He finally takes it off that bastard Brock Lesnar, as opposed to empty studio and he's standing there going, "Bruh!" He's got the title and he's cheering and no one's cheering for him. That is going to be so underwhelming. It's going to suck. I don't want to see that. I want to see Brock kill him and walk out. And we just left there going, lame. Oh, well.
It's like
and
I
then
don't
just
even
go
know
away for a
you.
while. Then go away for a while, WWE, and then come back and then give us our happiness. You have to suffer before the happiness. Don't try to mitigate this with half-assedness. It'll be a half-assed coronation if they do this at this WrestleMania, and you know it. You know it.
I think Vince has been waiting for this moment for 10 years. And I don't think
he can wait a little longer.
I don't think he's going to pass it up. Drew McIntyre for me. I don't think he's going to pass it up. Not at WrestleMania. He wants to do it at WrestleMania. He's not going to wait a year.
No, I don't think a year. I think it'll be SummerSlam.
I think he wants to do it at WrestleMania. That's why. That's one of the reasons that I'm steering into it a little bit.
Yeah, we will find out. We had a couple of extra ones we have to pick as well. Who walks out as WrestleMania as 24/7 champion? I'm saying Gronk.
Oh God. I had completely forgotten that he was even a part of this whole thing at this point.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna walk that back. I'm gonna say Mojo. It's just a +1. It's not a big deal. We're not betting on this one. This is just an automatic +1 or no points if you get it wrong. I'm saying Mojo. I'm saying Gronk wins it, and then Mojo takes it from him.
Oh, so at the end of WrestleMania,
whoever walks out of WrestleMania as the 24/7 champ?
R-Truth. I'll put R-Truth.
Okay, fair enough.
That's I agree. A solid bet. They might toss it around.
Going into it.
So you're talking about at the end of Sunday night, when it's all said and done.
Yes.
Yeah, R-Truth.
When the credit comes up, when the watermark comes up, you say R-Truth's the champ.
R-Truth.
Okay. Do you think Gronk is going to get it at some point in the night?
Maybe. I really couldn't care less, to be honest.
Solid maybe. Do you want to do this now, or do you want to say this for later? Bell-to-bell length of Goldberg and Strowman match. That's our tiebreaker, by the way. Is our tiebreaker.
I'd like to do that one later when we lock in our confidence bets.
Okay. All right.
It's not going to be long. It's going to be
we will say that one
5 or 6 minutes.
Looking back, is there anything that you want to change? We're well over time, so we got to do this now.
Give me a minute. Is there anything you want to change?
Yes, I think I just want to I want to clarify.
Okay.
I don't know if I ever clarified. I am picking Charlotte to retain. Or sorry, Charlotte to win the NXT Championship.
Okay. I'm picking Rhea to retain there.
Yeah, I'm saying Charlotte wins in a screw finish.
You want to do a +1 there with some kind of interference?
Interference?
Finish?
No, because I don't want to be a plus minus.
Right.
I'm too scared about everything. I really am.
No, I didn't. I don't feel like I took a lot of risks. The Lacey Evans one is the only real risk I feel like I took besides AJ. I mean, that's a risk, obviously. But I feel like it's time for Taker. They've been waiting on somebody.
AJ's not a risk. You're getting me crap for picking Brock, and you're picking AJ over Taker at WrestleMania. I mean, fair enough, bro. To go all Vince Russo on you for a second there.
Yep. No,
so, all right.
I'm good. Lock me in.
3, 2, 1. You are locked in, sir. We are locked in on those picks. Oh my God. We did. I'm so the nervous. I'm sweating. I smell like an onion. Oh, this is terrible.
Well, we're well over 2 hours at this point. Do you want to?
We are. It's a WrestleMania preview show, sir.
Yeah.
These are massive. You know how it works.
Oh goodness, this is our third year Mania on this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because we started right after
Mania. WrestleMania. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, that's our picks. You heard them here first. Locked in. If you're listening tonight, or tomorrow,
oh my goodness,
make your own picks. But we're going to lock in our confidence bets tomorrow. I will have the spreadsheet, patrons who participated in the pick'ems. As soon as I get the sheet up tonight, I'll give you guys an email address, or you can Facebook your picks and your confidence bets to me directly.
I'm totally shaking, Nick. Oh wait, you can't see. This is my shooting hand. There we go.
But guys, we're going to head over real quick to close things out and do our moment of positivity. Mop. Ian, what made you happy this week in wrestling?
I know we got to roll quickly, so I'll get it out of the way. The Jericho skit. That was the damn most amazing thing I've seen in a long time. That was hilarious. It had me rolling. It was beautiful. It was just nonstop gags. I know it had nothing to do with wrestling, really. It was a wrestler cutting a promo on a drone. Amazing.
I can't.
So entertaining.
2 weeks in a row now. Jericho's getting against Vanguard 1 is getting that mop pick, man. He is just. I don't know how the dude continues to do it 30 years later, but by God. I mean, he
great stuff.
He might be turning into the GOAT really quickly.
He is. He's already calling himself the GOAT. Why not?
I'm saying for real.
He's calling himself the GOAT for a while.
I'm saying for real.
For real. For real.
for really reals.
Was that your mop too?
Of course it was, but I'll throw another little honorable mention out there, and it was probably hearing Colt Cabana on commentary.
Aw, your boy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I liked him being on there. The other thing that I'm going to say is self-serving way, the debut of Anna Jayy.
Oh, my God.
Hi, Anna.
Drink some Diet Coke, man.
Yes,
You're
sir.
thirsty.
I'm out of...
Eat some Snickers.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, you're not yourself when you're hungry. It's almost 1 a.m. here. Oh, wait, but we're not done just yet. We've got just enough time for our other news lightning round. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to rock this out today. Ratings, AEW 685,000 with a 0.25. NXT 590,000 with a 0.15. They're getting murdered. They're getting murdered. Holy crap. Down to 685 and 590. Good Lord. Everyone's watching Tiger King on Netflix or something. Right. It's brutal. As of today, it's WrestleMania weekend. We would have been seeing Jon Moxley versus Josh Barnett and Minoru Suzuki versus Orange Cassidy if everything had gone to plan, Nick.
I'd be in Tampa.
But we're not. You'd be in Tampa right now. But no, we make plans and God laughs.
Yep.
Ric Flair thought in an interview Seth Rollins' promo on KO last week, the one he was walking around the ring, was his best promo of all time. So take that for what it's worth.
I agree with him.
Ric Flair, Seth's given a lot of damn promos.
Yep.
A lot of them are really good.
Yep.
But that one was really damn good. I don't know about the best, but if Ric Flair says so, I might have to listen. Speaking of Ric Flair, The next guest on the Broken Skull Sessions with Stone Cold on Sunday, April the 12th, will be Ric Flair. If you enjoyed the stories you've already heard with Stone Cold, good Lord, he's getting Ric Flair next. He is just getting all the names I want to see on that show. Little sidestep over to the NXT UK. There was a 20-man battle royale this week, which was a lot of fun. Ilya Dragunov ran the whole thing. Came down to him and Alexander Wolf at the end, but he put Wolf over the top. Ilya Dragunov is your next contestant, your number one contender, if you will, for Walter's NXT UK title.
I want that match so bad.
Finally happening. Ilya Dragunov versus Walter. Actually,
Put
on him
it
and
in
Tyler
my holes.
Still, yeah. Done and done. Wrestle Dynasty. New Japan's Wrestle Dynasty is supposed to happen at Madison Square Garden is August 22nd. Still supposed to happen because hopefully we're back on track by then. But the sale date of the tickets has been pushed back from April 8th to May 13th just to be sure that we're going to be all right and they can do that show by then. So if you're going to buy tickets on April 8th, hold on.
Yeah.
It's going to be about a month later. Speaking of New Japan, if you haven't heard about it, there is a movie called My Dad is a Heel Wrestler. It's a Japanese movie. It stars Hiroshi Tanahashi, but it's also got a bunch of other guys from Chaos, Togi Makabe, Ryusuke Taguchi, Goto, a few other guys. A bunch of New Japan wrestlers in it. It is now going to be available to watch on New Japan World. One more reason to get that streaming service. Have not seen it yet myself, but I cannot wait to see it. It's supposed to actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Teddy Hart. It's Teddy Hart jail watch time. Is he in jail or is he not? Not Teddy Long, god damn it, Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart is actually out of jail. He is out of jail thanks to a court order. We don't have a reason exactly why he's out. He was being held without bail, but the scuttlebutt is that Maria Manick did not press charges against him. She's actually been saying on social media that everything's blown out of proportion, which is what you would say if you were in an abusive relationship. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, but it's still a mess.
Yeah.
It's all a mess. But yes, Teddy Hart is walking the streets. So if you live on that side of the country, be careful. Speaking of Teddy Hart, he no longer works for MLW, and MLW is no longer doing shows, just like everybody else. They've had to push back their Texas North Richland Hills May 2nd tapings to October 3rd. If you had tickets for that show, however, they will still be honored 6 months from now. So you can still go see that just much later. Speaking of things to see, this Sunday, ESPN2 will be showing 6 Brock Lesnar matches to get you ready for day 2 of WrestleMania. I wonder where the Brock Lesnar match is going to fall. Could it possibly be Sunday? I don't know. 6 a.m., UFC's main event, Brock Lesnar versus Alistair Overeem. 7 a.m., it's him versus Shane Corwin. 7:30 versus Cain Velasquez. 8 a.m. versus Randy Couture on UFC Unleashed. And then at 9 a.m., they're showing him winning the NCAA Wrestling Championship, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Go see some old school, like just Meat Castle.
That's
Brock.
actually a legit match. It's
yeah.
That's if you're into amateur wrestling, high school, collegiate wrestling, things like that, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's one worth checking in on. Actually, they're all really good matches. But then they're going to show at 3 p.m. WrestleMania 35 in its entirety, including the match where he lost his title to Seth Rollins
on Sunday.
That's what I said. You're going to show WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, that was 6 hours
at the same time as WrestleMania.
I'm doing you can see the calculus coming out of my head right now. That does not compute.
I don't know why they didn't do it at 10 a.m. after the NCAA match, but I don't run a network. What the heck do I know?
Right.
And finally, just a little bit of a little note, a little fun thing to think about. 15 years to the day today, John Cena and Batista won their first championships in WWE at WrestleMania 21, which, interestingly enough, was the WrestleMania where WrestleMania Goes Hollywood. It was in LA, remember?
Yep.
And now both guys are movie stars. Not saying.
Fun facts.
Interesting little fun fact.
Fun facts.
And that's the news, Nick.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Ian Dangerous, and thank you guys very much for hanging out with us on this massive WrestleMania preview, as they always are. Thank you for staying up late with us here on a Friday night. We did it tonight because we didn't want to have to do this tomorrow and potentially bump up against the start of WrestleMania. We do know that the show starts at 7 p.m. Whether or not there is a pre-show is still undetermined. I don't know if they're going to do anything because we do know it is all taped. However, as soon as I find out if they are doing a kickoff show tomorrow night, I will let you guys know in the Facebook discussion group, and we will do our normal watch party as we normally do. But just to get into that, you got to come over to Facebook, search for Busted Wide Open, like our page, and send us a join request to get into the group with all of our fans and listeners and the rest of the phenomenal ones. You'll find all kinds of good memes, links, good stuff in there, as well as links to our Discord server where you'll want to get into it for the live chats all throughout the show tomorrow night and Sunday night. We also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast. We stream live here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen. Make sure you pound that subscribe button, like these videos and any other ones that you might run across, and jingle that little notification bell right next to the subscription button so that you get notified anytime we go live or put up new content. Last but certainly not least, one more time, if you are not in our Patreon yet at the $5 or higher tier, there is still time. Patrons who are going to participate in the Pick'ems, we are going to do a hard lock on your picks at 5 p.m. tomorrow night so that I can get everything loaded into the spreadsheet. 5
p.m. Eastern to clarify.
5 p.m. Eastern,
2 Pacific.
2 Pacific.
Whatever that
lock.
means in Greenwich Mean Time.
Sure. That would be 10, I think, 10 p.m. If I'm doing my time zone math there right. It's a 5-hour difference to the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be mistaken. 5
p.m., I need you guys locked in, right? So we're going to post the sheet on Patreon immediately after this show is done. Ian's gotten it all formatted and ready to go. It's out there. Do we need to make any changes to it based on anything we've heard since then?
I don't know. I've been doing a show, Nick. I don't know.
But we multitask. Who knows?
I've got to... Not that. I'm sorry. I've been doing 3 different screens here, working on chat, trying to communicate with Ann Larson from Going in Raw, doing this show, checking my notes, updating notes, writing in our Pick'ems. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see if they'd add any more matches to WrestleMania, Nick. I'm sorry. I'll get on that right now.
You got till 5 o'clock tomorrow night. We're going to post it immediately after the show.
No,
I'm talking about, I don't want to post the show, the card, if we're going to make changes to it. So I don't want people sending me this stuff. So we're locking it in as it is. If not, we'll hear from you guys. You'll hear from us, or
if there are matches added, we will post what our updated match card, like our calls are.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for at least that $5 tier, and you too can compete with Sir Ian Dangerous and myself, as well as all of the other patrons in the quadrennial Patron Pick'ems Challenge. I think it's We do it for the big 4 pay-per-views. This is the biggest of the 4, WrestleMania. This is our third WrestleMania we've had here on the show since its inception. This is the second Pick'ems Challenge for WrestleMania we've had. Kris White, the reigning defending undisputed champion, will be defending his title for the first time in a show that is too big for just one night. Man, good luck to you, Kris. This is going to be a mess. There's a lot of people gunning for you, and there's 17 matches for you to contend with. I wish you all the best, my friend, but
it's going to be brutal.
I don't have a high vote of confidence that anybody's going to retain any level of stuff here, so it's going to be a mess. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us at this late hour. We really appreciate all of your contributions. Shout out to everybody that threw all that money into the tip jar.
Guys, thank you.
There's too many of you to just rattle off here, and I can't remember. Andrew, Esme, Abraham, Clint, I think it was, Anonymous. We are Anonymous. We threw money
everybody
in the tip
seriously.
jar.
So much love. Thank you, guys.
But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But my God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.